No David today.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Well, half of that's true. Good morning. David has the next couple of days off, so I'm riding solo. Pretty good guests today and tomorrow, however, so we will not leave you hanging as we get ready for championship weekend in the National Football League. How is it that he does that? How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, minus a Moulton on this Thursday. Glad you could join me for the show this morning. Lots to discuss, lots to get into with football. I had to pull a couple of favors because I found out a little later David wouldn't be able to make it today. So Lee Sterling will join us for a couple of segments in the 7 o'clock hour. Not only will we get Lee's perspective from a gambling standpoint, but Lee played football, Lee understands football, and he'll break down the games from his perspective at 7. And our old friend Trent Balley will join us in the bonus hour to give me a little reprieve after 3 hours of a solo show. Probably the biggest news, and I don't even think probably, the biggest news of yesterday was the mess that was the Buffalo Bills press conference. Owner Terry Pegula and Brendan Beane, the GM, took to the podium. It's the first time that Pegula had taken calls from the media. Taken calls. What am I saying? What am I doing? A talk show? Taken questions from the media in 5 years. And now we know why. Because my goodness, was he awful. A lot was said. He did everything he could do to throw Sean McDermott, the now former head coach of the Bills, who I understand, and we were into this yesterday, that the Bills fan was, I think, at first, I don't know if happy is the right word, but perhaps relieved is the right word when you found out about the firing of McDermott. As you know, as I said a couple of days ago, when it happened, I text a good friend of mine who is a big Bills fan and I think knows sports as well as anybody that I know. He said, not surprised. I text another friend who's a lifer Bills fan, older than me, smart guy, calm guy. About time was his response. Another friend of mine, she knows her ball. She's a diehard Bills fan, but she's mafia. Let's put the levels of these. She was ecstatic about it. But then when Brendan Beane got the promotion to general manager, and he's going to determine who the next head coach is, people question that. And it sounded like Beane made a power play. Now, Pegula yesterday dismissed the power play notion. But essentially, it sounds as if he fired the head coach, even though he knows it was a bad call. Here's yesterday's press conference when Beane was asked why they lost. You'll hear Pegula jump in.
And led to the group falling short of that.
I mean, Jay.
A bad call.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, I would say.
There it is. A bad call. So he was fired, essentially. I mean, I don't know are you firing a coach if he doesn't take you to the Super Bowl? And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. When you now look at Buffalo from where they must go from here, it's Super Bowl or bust. So, Bills fan, would love to hear from you on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line Obviously, taking a lot of input today since there's only one of us. But on the text line, if you're a Bills fan or just a football fan, realistically now, how long does the new coach have to get this team to a Super Bowl? I had one Bills fan tell me it's got to be next year. I certainly think within the 3 years that whoever this coach is that is hired, and whether it's Brady, Dable could still be a possibility, what they do, here, if maybe the Dable Brady thing would work, I don't know. But this team has to get to a Super Bowl and has to get to a Super Bowl quickly. He also, in the press conference yesterday, defended being in the drafting of Keon Coleman and threw McDermott and the coaching staff under the bus. Again, here's the owner, Pagula, on the drafting of Coleman.
That led to the group falling short of that.
Wrong one. Hey, I'm new with this. New toys. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean,
Can I interrupt? I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice. That was Brandon being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff, who felt strongly about the player. And, he's taken, for some reason, heat over it and not saying a word about it. But I'm here to tell you the true story.
That's the owner defending the general manager on the drafting of Keon Coleman. Now, let's review. Let's go back to April of last year and the draft. Here's the GM being on his thoughts going into the draft.
When I went to bed that night, I was like, it's Keon unless someone just blows us away. We didn't feel anything was attractive enough for us to pass up on Keon.
All things considered, get the guy who's shows.
There it is. Again, I'm going to play that for you again. Listen.
When I went to bed that night, I was like, it's Keon unless someone just blows us away. We didn't feel.
It's Keon unless someone blows us away. So either he lied through his teeth to all of the Buffalo media, which means he cannot be trusted ever again. And this is the guy you're handing the keys to the franchise with arguably the best quarterback right now in the game. I know some would say Burrow. I know there are other guys. Drake May looks like he's up and comer. There are plenty of good guys. Mahomes is obviously great. But it's Mahomes and Allen. And I'll take Mahomes. I misspoke there. But Josh Allen is a top 3, if not top 2 quarterback in the league. And you've got a window. He's 30 years old. I mean, how many years do you have before Josh Allen can't be Superman anymore? Before he can't do the things that make him great? And part of that is his ability to run the football and get first downs for this team. Got to tell you, Pagula told Biscotti, hold my beer. I'll take over. And there is an obvious reason why he very smartly hasn't taken questions from the media before. Because yesterday he sounded like a buffoon, like an absolute buffoon. And this is an NFL owner. He's also an NHL owner. By the way, up until a month and a half ago, that NHL franchise was a dumpster fire. Now, they're red hot lately, and they're playing great, and Sabres fans, at least one of them, reminds me daily of that. And good for them, and it's a great fan base, and they deserve success. The Bills fan base, obviously a great fan base. They deserve success. But do you, if you're a Bills fan today, do you feel better or worse about your franchise going forward? 21,000. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Obviously, you can chime in on either the Twitch or YouTube chat room regarding your thoughts on what happened in Buffalo today. We'll play those clips again, probably do it with Lee, and probably do it later on in the show. It was the biggest story of the day as we head into championship weekend. New England and Denver, that one in Denver. Couple of quick facts for you. I had a lot more digging on the NFC championship game. Didn't really get as many nuggets on the AFC championship game, but I'll give you these. New England, they're 0-4 lifetime in the postseason in Denver. The last one was a 20-18 Broncos victory in the 2015 AFC championship game. Denver is 5-1 all time against New England in the postseason, 2-0 in AFC championship games. The other fun one to me is the Saints and Rams, because man, oh man, are they even in a lot of ways. Those two teams have played each other twice this season. The score, Rams 109, Seattle 107. Yards for the Rams, 1,599. For Seattle, 1,589. Seattle, the number one scoring defense in the league. The Rams, the number one scoring offense in the league. In the playoffs, we've had this matchup 34 times. Record, 17-17. So a very even matchup. A couple other things. Mike McDonald, 7-0 when facing a team that they've already played. McVay, 3-0 when facing a team for the third time. So some fun stats there. I guess the other one is in conference championship games that are between division rivals. This will be the 21st time that it's happened. The home teams won 15 of 20. Miller and Moulton got a couple of poll question ideas lingering inside my brain. It is National Hot Sauce Day, by the way. One of them will be about hot sauce. I can guarantee you that, and I'll piss a bunch of you off because I'm not going to put your obscure brand as one of the four. Lee Sterling will join us coming up at 7 a.m. Our buddy Trent Balley will help bail me out as I get tired of the 9 o'clock hour. David with the day off today and tomorrow. Pat Kerwin and David Sampson on the show tomorrow. The starting five is 25 minutes away. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your number one Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Spring training is a big win for Lee County. Beginning next month, we will proudly host the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins right here in Southwest Florida. It's more than great baseball. It's jobs, visitors, and $69 million in tourism impact for our local economy. Get your tickets at redsox.com and twins.com. Be part of something that strengthens our community. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Racer, what I looked up is I had he's 3-0 when playing a team for a third time. I could be wrong, but that's what I found yesterday. Wouldn't be the first time I was wrong, not even this morning. I mean, obviously, I've already had to talk to my wife. All right, a more important question. Are you guys going to crucify me if I put Tabasco on the hot sauce list? Frank's Red Hot, Sriracha, Cholula, three of the most popular. I have Tabasco. Louisiana hot sauce, technically, is the fourth most popular by what I looked up. I would put Crystal ahead of it, and I would put Tabasco ahead of it, but that's just me. Play by Cider was ridiculous.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Fooled you. David's got the day off today. He'll have tomorrow off as well. Expected to be back Monday. So I'll steer the ship for a couple of days. Glad you could join me here, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. So this is something I wouldn't need David for because I've known him a long time, and I tease him because he's at best, he's a medium wing guy from a hot sauce standpoint. I love hot food. I like my head to just sweat. I like, stopped at Jimmy the Beef Guy yesterday. He's got this Italian ice, and the daughter loves it. And the gal that works at his Fort Myers store is so sweet. The Bonita people, I'm sure, are wonderful. I stop at the one in Fort Myers because it's near where I pick my daughter up from school. Yesterday, she got out a little early, and he has the best jardiniere around. It's not close. And I like a lot of it. And I mean, it's better if I take it home because I'm sitting there and the head's starting to sweat when I get the jardiniere going. Then I feel like I've accomplished something. It's why I take antacids every day. But National Hot Sauce Day, which of these is your favorite? And I put 4 of the most popular. Apparently, Tabasco is no longer in the top 4 popular brands, but it's kind of the tried and true. And I'm a Tabasco guy, even though I don't think I have it in my house anymore. I used to be a Tabasco guy for damn near everything. Then it became just Bloody Marys. Frank's Red Hot. If you're a wing guy, it's the staple. You cannot do wings without Frank's Red Hot. I really don't think that you can. You may argue with me. I've got a few chefs that hang out in our chat room. Sriracha. Wonderful. Wonderful on everything. Put that stuff on a cracker. And Cholula, which is probably it's not probably, that's the Miller family go-to. That right there, that's the Costco, pick up 2 big bottles, and they don't last as long as they would in another home. So those are your choices. Tabasco, Frank's Red Hot, Sriracha, and Cholula. You can text me on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line and tell me what else should be on there. I get it. Crystal, Louisiana hot sauce. When you go to the variety of great Mexican restaurants or Latin restaurants around Southwest Florida, they all have different stuff on there. There's a bunch of different things out there. Those are the 4 we went with. Deal. I figured out, however, that I think, and I believe that my wife and I are doing a good job of raising our now 11-year-old daughter. But I'm worried over what I've created. One, she has my sarcasm. And that, while I think will benefit her when she's in college and going through life, sarcasm for an 11-year-old can be a very tough thing. Because one, I'm glad from everything I understand, I've never heard a teacher say that she does it in class. I think she understands and has been taught to respect her teachers. She occasionally eye rolls at either me or mom, and more so mom, because my daughter's into gymnastics. And of course, my wife loves gymnastics more than any other thing on earth. I mean, honestly, I've talked about it. We tape every damn gymnastics match that's on cable television, and she may watch them a month later, and it doesn't bother her. She watches, she gets into it, she knows who they all are, she thinks she knows the scoring. Because of that, my daughter competes, and then she tries to tell my daughter this, that, or the other about her routine, and the daughter usually isn't having it. And that's when the eye roll comes. That, of course, pisses the wife off, and who gets blamed? Me. So I've been working on the eye roll. But I discovered that the food snob that I am is rubbing off on my daughter, and I really worry going forward. And she's too young for boys and all that, but one day that will happen. I realize that. But I make lunch for the kid every day. And one of the questions when I pick her up from school is simply, how was your day? How was lunch? Because I don't see her other in the morning when I leave. I wake her up right when I leave. It's the last thing I do. I give her a hug and a kiss and basically tell her to get out of bed and listen to her mom in the morning so I don't have to hear about it. And when I pick her up, because I make lunch for her in the morning, And I found out yesterday that wait for it, don't slice the cheese thin enough for her sandwiches. Yep, that's what I heard. How was the sandwich? Good, Dad, but could you do me a favor? I like the cheese on it, but do you mind if you slice it a little thinner? Now, we've already crossed a great hurdle in life because she does not like American cheese, and that makes me, the food snob, happy. She likes her Colby Jack, but apparently I slice it too thick for her. That's what I found out. So as I mentioned earlier this week, I've got a health thing going on. I'm going to be gone from our house for 3 months. I'm going to be in the hospital for a month, and then in it looks like somewhere close to the hospital for 2 more months before I can go home. So the wife is going to be stuck doing all of this. And I don't know if she knows what's coming from having to prepare food for this 11-year-old food snob. So it's all my fault. I've created it. And, I plan on doing the FaceTime every day with the daughter. I'm waiting to see her critique of how mom and grandma, because they'll be kind of going back and forth because someone's got to take care of me. There's a lot to all this. But I wonder if these 3 months will strengthen her or she'll just be a flat-out mess because, again, the cheese was not sliced thinly enough. All right. Trying to figure out from a poll question standpoint, do we put how quickly do the Bills have to make a Super Bowl in order for the firing of Sean McDermott to be valid? And I think it's 1, 2, or 3 years. I don't think that there is a chance that you can get to year 4 if you're this new coach, without taking this team to a Super Bowl. There's more pressure now on this coach than possibly any other coach in the league. Because obviously we all know Buffalo's been to the game. They've never won the game. And I was thinking about this yesterday because I listen to different shows from time to time, and it was a national show. I think it was Rich Eisen who made the comment because he's a Jets fan. And he made the comment that, there are so many fan bases out there that would love to have gone 8-8 in this run in the postseason. And yeah, that's right. I get it. Dull fan would say it, but I think this kind of goes back to the Marlins, if you will. The Marlins have been a grease fire throughout most of the franchise's history. However, they've got 2 World Series championships. And when you think of it, logically, what would you rather have? It was the old, the run of the Braves, and I know they finally got theirs, but the run of the Braves with all of those playoff appearances but no titles up until they finally got theirs, or the Marlins, who didn't get there hardly at all, but when they did, they won it. And I'm not sure who the football comp is to that. Maybe it's the Bucks, who have a couple, but up until, but they were the losingest franchise in sports. Or a team like the Bills, who's had all kinds of success. And when you sit there from the 30,000-foot view and you say, well, obviously, I'd like to be good every year. If you're a Bills fan, and let's just say, and I'm not trying to pick on them, I'm really not, trying to say you don't win a Super Bowl with Josh Allen. Josh Allen plays 6, 7, 8 more years and doesn't win the last game. Do you realize what you've missed out on? And I know every fan, yeah, but they were good every year, and they always had a shot. And you went into the season with hope. Hope can be crushing if you don't win the final game. Because at some point, to quote David's line, everybody needs a parade. And if they don't get the Super Bowl with Josh, it certainly will look as if it was a missed opportunity. It's kind of that golfer who played all those years without winning a major. At some point, you want to hoist the big trophy. And no matter how good they are, if you don't win the last game, is it worth it?
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This was coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
That's going to be one of many. Thank you, Pius. Obviously, I'm not drinking right now. Don't know when I'll be able to ever drink again, but it could be a nice gift from someone. It's going to happen to a lot of bourbons. The bourbon industry is taking a bath right now. People aren't drinking. Older people that are my age are quitting, and young people don't drink. They thought this was going to last forever, and it's getting whooped.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Well, no, it's not. David's off, expected back on Monday. So I'll steer the ship for a couple of days. Lee Sterling's going to join me top of the 7 o'clock hour. He's going to hang out for a couple of segments. We'll talk some ball. He was at the Natty, I believe. I saw some pictures. I'm quite certain. The big Miami fan that he is. His dad worked for the team. His daughter was a cheerleader at the school. So Lee and I will talk probably a little national championship, but get you ready for both the NFC and AFC championship weekend. Lee's doing his homework. I told him when I booked him, so don't expect, if he makes picks, great. I did not book Lee to make picks. I found out kind of late that David wasn't going to be able to make it the next 2 days and was scrambling to put a couple guests on the show so you didn't have to listen to me babble for 4 hours. So Trent's going to come in during the 9 o'clock hour, and Lee's going to join us for a couple of segments next hour. Tomorrow on the show right now, and I promise you I will do better between now and then, but we're already set up for a great show. Pat Kerwin will join us for his 2 segments at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And David Sampson, for the first time in a long time, will join the show. Can't wait to catch up with David. He's dealing with some family health crisis. His daughter is quite sick. He's posted a lot of things about it. If you want the history, you can just look up David on X, and there are plenty of things that he has said and talked about with what is going on in his world. And obviously, he still does nothing personal every day, still does the Lebertard show quite frequently. And he let us know a while back that, he was done for 2025 and 2026 was up in the air. So hopefully sometime soon, David will be back to being a regular guest. But for now, a little chat with David Sampson. That will be tomorrow. Lee Sterling coming up in 20 minutes. But right now it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
And the Starting Five is brought to you by Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Well, Pagula's presser really took the day by storm. He defended not only why he fired McDermott, saying he just couldn't get him there. They'd hit a wall, was his exact words. Defended Bean and said that McDermott and the coaching staff were responsible for drafting Keon Coleman. Coleman still rostered with the team. You've got to think he'll be playing somewhere else next year. Other NFL news yesterday. Houston GM Nick Caserio said Joe Mixon's 2026 status remains uncertain after a freak foot injury in the offseason. He didn't address what that injury was. There are plenty of rumors out there, including that he shot himself in the foot, but he didn't talk about that. Ben Johnson did an interview yesterday, said he wants better chemistry between Caleb Williams and his pass catchers. Caleb had the worst completion percentage among starters, and the best separation of any receiver groups was that of Chicago. So obviously, if they can fix that, that's a team that can improve. It'll be very, very interesting to see where the Bears head next year. Well, the Falcons had already hired Kevin Stefanski. Tommy Rees comes over as his offensive coordinator like he was in Cleveland. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Dolphins have their presser today at 11 to introduce Jeff Hafley, the new head coach, and John Eric Sullivan, the new GM. Eric Bieniemy back as offensive coordinator in Kansas City. We all know Andy Reid calls the plays and runs the offense, but Bieniemy back with the Chiefs. Indianapolis, I guess on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, announced that the Combine will stay in Indy through 2028. I know that will at least make Pat Kerwin very happy. The Vikings extended Brian Flores yesterday as their defensive coordinator. He's still being interviewed for head coaching jobs and can leave for a head coaching job, but other teams were pursuing him as a DC. So now if he is a defensive coordinator next year, it'll be with the Vikings. Both the Ravens and Steelers have expressed an interest in Flores. John Lynch, the 49er GM, says Brandon Ayuk has played his last snap with the 49ers. I think that was maybe the most obvious call we had. The other thing that Lynch said, the whole talk about the electrical plant near their practice facility and why that's causing injuries, or the I guess, conspiracy theory that is causing injuries, he said he's going to look into. Doctors have debunked the whole thing, but he basically said, I'll leave no stone unturned when it comes to why they've suffered so many injuries. Association last night. Cleveland entered the game as the worst team against the spread in the NBA. They won and covered last night, beating Charlotte 94-87. Evan Mobley, 14 points, 14 rebounds. Donovan Mitchell had 24 in the win. Jaylen Brown scored 30 for the Celtics as they beat the Pacers 119-104. He had 10 rebounds as well. Siakam with 32 and 10 in the loss. Celtics 26 and 16. They are second in the East. The Knicks had their largest margin of victory in franchise history. They snap a 4-game skid, beating Brooklyn 120-66. They won by 54. Brunson with 20 in the win. The Knicks had lost 9 of 11. Probably the game of the night last night in the association. Atlanta beat Memphis 124-122. Ja Morant 23 in the loss, but missed a three-pointer at the horn. The Hawks snap a 4-game losing streak. Jalen Johnson, 32 points, 15 rebounds, 21 lead changes, 14 ties in the game. The Pistons have won 4 straight. They're 5.5 up on Boston in the East, a 112-104 victory over New Orleans. Jalen Duren with 20 and 15, 7 of 8 for the Pistons. Zion started, but he went to the locker room. He was listed as questionable with an illness. Well, that illness apparently hit him in the third quarter. He headed to the locker room and did not return to the game. The Pistons are in Houston on Friday. SGA scored 40, had 11 assists, went 16 of 19 from the floor as OKC beat Milwaukee by 20, 122-102. Giannis 19 and 14. The Thunder have won 7 of 8. They did it last night without 5 of their key players. The Bucks also missing 2 starters, including Kevin Porter Jr., who will be out for a while. Toronto behind 23 from Scotty Barnes. He had 14 in the third quarter. Toronto trailed by 9 at the half, but stormed back to beat Sacramento 122-109. Brandon Ingram also had 23 for the Raptors. And the first prison sentence in the NBA betting scandal happened yesterday. Timothy McCormick, who is a self-proclaimed gambling addict, received a 2-year sentence. NCAA hoops last night. All the ranked teams at home, all the ranked teams won. North Carolina, a win and a cover. 91-69 over Notre Dame. They're 15-4 on the year, just 3-3 in the ACC, though. Illinois, without Kylan Boswell, who broke his hand in practice on Monday, improved to 7-1 in the Big Ten, 16-3 on the season. They whooped up on Maryland 89-70. That's a 19-point win. The spread was 18.5. 7th-ranked Nebraska remains undefeated. 10-point win over Washington. They are 19-0. They won. They did not cover. Arizona, a win and a cover, the number 1 team in the nation. They're 19-0. They beat Cincinnati 77-51. They led by just 6 at the half. Cincinnati was trying to be the first team to knock off the number 1 and number 2 teams consecutively. They had beaten Iowa State on Saturday, trying to get the double dip, getting Arizona. The last team to do it, Kansas, in the 89-90 season when they beat LSU and UNLV. And Gonzaga, 20-1 now on the season, 14-point win over Pepperdine. 20 wins for the Zags for the 29th straight season. SEC action last night, Kentucky beat Texas by 5. Other NCAA basketball news. Charles Bedico, former Alabama player, was granted a temporary restraining order and can play immediately for Alabama. He was drafted in 2023. He signed an NBA contract. He's not played an NBA game, but has played 46 games in the G League. NHL, Detroit, with a great play by Moritz Seider in overtime, knocked the Toronto defenseman down in the 3-on-3 and then felled Dylan Larkin, who netted his 25th of the season. Detroit sweeps Toronto on the season series 2-1 in overtime. The Wings are now tied with Tampa for first in the conference. Tampa does have 3 games in hand. Anaheim did something that not many teams do. They beat Colorado. They did it in extra time, a shootout as a matter of fact. 2-1 the final, 5th straight for Anaheim. The Avs, 34-5-9, 77 points. That's 11 better than anyone else in the league. Utah, with a Clayton Keller goal with 37 seconds left, he would then score in overtime as the Mammoth down the Flyers 5-4. Pittsburgh, a 4-1 win over Calgary. Stuart Skinner stops 18-shot. Malkin with the goal. Crosby an assist. The Pens 3-0-2 in their last 5. They play Edmonton on Friday. That means McDavid and Crosby. The Kraken defeat the Islanders 4-1, snapping a 4-game skin. Vince Dunn and Jared McCann each with a goal and assist. And Vancouver ends their 11-game losing streak, a 4-3 win over Washington. Aussie Open, Joker in straight sets, Skinner in straight sets, Fritz the American wins. But 40-year-old Stan Wawrinka wins in 5 sets to move to the 3rd round. PGA, they're in La Quinta for the American Express. Sepp Straka, your winner a year ago. Scotty Scheffler's 2026 season debut. President Trump planning to meet with the 4 commissioners of the major sports regarding our 250th anniversary as a nation. Baseball news, Cody Bellinger is returning to the Yanks, 5 years, $162 million deal. And the Mets acquire Freddie Peralta for 2 prospects from the Brewers. His 17 wins last year, the best in the National League. He's got 1 year left on his deal. A judge gives Duke a temporary restraining order blocking Darian Mensah from enrolling to play football for another school. He can enter the portal, but until a court hearing in early February, he cannot sign on to play football anywhere else. And finally, the WNBA season will begin on May 8th if the CBA can get worked out. I'm sure we'll keep you posted on that. One other bit of news, saw this yesterday and tried to confirm it this morning, but I've seen rumors that Malachi Toney, the Canes' great freshman wide receiver, is hitting the portal. That was according to his mother, who told On3 Sports. Ohio State, USF, and Florida are his top destinations. And that is the starting 5, brought to you by Lee County. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. So a lot there, a lot of, off the field NFL stuff, which we'll get a lot of coming right now. Coordinators being hired. McDaniel was announced as the OC. That deal got done with the Chargers. Some funny stuff online. If you spend a little time looking, there's a guy who does great skits, played both Harbaugh and McDaniel talking to one another. It's gold. It's gold. That's the only way I can say it to you. Absolutely fantastic. Couple of poll questions for you. It's National Hot Sauce Day. Which of these is your favorite? Tabasco, Frank's Red Hot, Sriracha, Cholula. I went Cholula. That's the Miller staple. I will say 3 of the 4 in the house. We do not have Tabasco. I have Crystal in the house, but not Tabasco. But Sriracha always there. Can't do the wings without the Red Hot. And how quickly do the Bills need to make a Super Bowl to justify the McDermott firing? 1, 2, or 3 years are your choices. That Mark Miller, Miller_Moulton on X. So the Duke story with Mensa, the quarterback, I reached out to his agent and attorney, Darren Heitner, did not hear back. I'm not really surprised, but Darren's come on the show quite a few times over the years. I threw it out there trying to get him on, but he's representing the Duke quarterback. Duke got a temporary restraining order. People starting to say it was a win for Duke. It's not a win. If they win in February, it's a win. If I were to bet on this, I'd bet on the Duke quarterback, not on Duke. I really would. And then you have this whole G League player that is playing for going back to play for Alabama. People, the coaches in the NCAA want the NCAA to grow a set, if you know what I mean. Lee Sterling coming up next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Our Wedding Band event is back at the Diamond District, January 24th and 25th.
Standout designers from Crown, Ajafi, and Veragio.
2 days only, 20% off designer pricing.
Diamonds, gold, or platinum. One of a kind or perfectly simple. We make it personal and easy.
20% off, January 24th and 25th. Only at the Diamond District. Se habla español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Lee. Thanks for doing this.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. You all right?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. All things considered. All things considered, I head to Moffett next week and start my journey.
Okay. How did you find out everything that you knew?
So I hurt my back back in May, and I didn't do anything about it initially, and came back from vacation in July, and it was still killing me. And, then you had to do I think at that point I had already gone to see the doctor, and they did x-rays, but they hadn't done an MRI yet. And they finally did an MRI, and that showed some abnormalities. And then that started a litany of tests. And I want to say in August, we found out, we were pretty sure that I had cancer. It wasn't until September that they actually found out exactly what it was. And, they put me on pills, which the pills have worked unbelievably well, brought all my blood counts back to normal. But that's a Band-Aid, not a cure.
Right.
So
can you, do you have a family history of?
No.
Wow.
The weird thing is my ex-wife, different kind of leukemia, but has also had a bone marrow transplant, which, got us wondering, where did we live? Because people think this is environmental, but, there's no determining what, you don't know.
You don't know. So if you want me to stay on 2, 3, whatever, how many segments?
All right, a couple segments. If we do 2, that'd be great. Then I'll go from there. Awesome. Thanks, Lee. I really.
And I also told David, while you're out, if he needs for an hour or 1 day a week, I'm here for you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
Really appreciate it.
People can put up with me.
You were at the game, right?
Yeah, I was. We can talk about it.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about that in the first segment.
Yep.
Because I actually have some observations about a couple players. People might be like, wow.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Well, that's a trick. It's a bit of a lie this morning. David with the day off. He'll be off tomorrow. Expecting him back on Monday. Miller and Moulton on this Thursday morning as we head to championship weekend. And I'm joined now by Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com. Lee helping out, doing a couple segments. And like I told him, if Lee wants to give a pick, that's up to him. That's not why I brought him on. Lee knows ball. He does a lot of film work. And as he's getting ready for championship weekend, would love to talk a little football with him to see what things he's found out. I've done a little research. I've got my stuff. Lee will have his. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
I'm good. Wasn't great the morning after the Miami game, but it's tough. You get so close. You'd rather, I was saying to my wife, I'd rather go like 8-4 next year and go to the one of the condiment bowls and win a title than go, get into the playoffs 2 years and just fall short. But looking back now, it was an incredible year for Miami to get that far.
It was an incredible year. And I'll start out with something. And I brought this up in the starting five, Lee, and I saw it yesterday. And On3 Sports, very reputable group, particularly when it comes to college things, that Malachi Toney's mother informed On3 that he's entering the portal. That kind of stunned me. Obviously they're going to lose some big linemen, but it's all about the Benjamins. And I had not seen his name in the portal, so I don't know what you're hearing. You're obviously a lot closer to the program than I am. That would be a blow if he left.
Oh, yeah. You know what? First of all, I don't know if it's true because I think I saw one that looked like it was a fake On3. So, there's so many,
exactly.
You can't trust what you see. And second off, I think they'll pay the guy, the kid, and I think he wants to be here. I think they'll work something out. So, as long as they get him and Fletcher, they do have a lot of holes to fill. Losing 4 to 5 offensive linemen, but
both defensive linemen that are going to go early in the draft. Obviously,
a lot of guys going. But Mario's a really good guy at evaluating talent, and they're developing guys now. The coaching staff. Just a couple things, couple turnovers, block punt, missed field goal.
Was it 87 or whatever? The one play, they were set up for a return.
Yeah,
it wasn't supposed to be a block, and one guy just whiffed on a block.
Yeah. He'd been out there. He was a starting tight end the last 4 or 5 weeks because Lofton's been out. or they shared time and just got lazy and let them get through. And, that proved to be the difference. But great game. Indiana is coached so well. In the third and the fourth downs, they ended up in the third and fourth quarter coming through with those great play calls. But I will say this. I think I'm pretty good at reading quarterbacks. I don't think Fernando Mendoza is going to be a good NFL quarterback. I don't even know if he's going to be average. Okay.
Why?
I think he's a system quarterback. I think he's a one-read guy. I think Cignetti is so good that he lays out, he knows almost for sure what defense he's in. If you notice that once he had to make that second read, and he had a little bit of pressure, not great. Now, he's really good running straight. And I said this on a lot of the shows, and you can go back and look like for Locked On Canes. I did a 15, 20-minute interview with Alex Dono the week before, Cane Sport. Great straight-ahead runner, but really slow going side to side, which is interesting. Really good speed straight up the middle when he runs straight ahead, but side to side, not a real good scrambler. He's going to be going to a bad team if he goes to the Raiders. Probably if someone trades up and gives a lot for him, he might go to a little bit better team, but I don't think he's going to be a good pro. I think he's a system quarterback, a one-read quarterback. He's smart, but I don't think he's going to be great at picking up that second read behind not good offensive lines. If he was with someone like San Francisco and they're not injured, he'd be perfect. And he'd be maybe average, above average. But
it's funny you say that about the one read, because even Cignetti, when interviewed on the field, basically said the same thing. We've got to be able to get him his first read.
Yeah.
I mean, he alluded.
That's interesting. Exactly, I haven't watched the game yet.
Yeah, you'll see it, and I don't remember. I think it was the halftime interview. In fact, I'm certain it was the interview either right going into the half or coming out of the half when Cignetti, when they asked about Miami's defense, and he complimented them. He goes, we just got to make sure he sees his first read. Okay. Right. There were two things that I thought, Lee, about Indiana. That one I'd been talking about for 3 weeks, and it came to fruition again. Is I think the one part of their team that was talked about far less than any other was how good those receivers are. They don't drop balls, Lee. They were 5 of 5 in contested balls against Oregon, and I know that game was a blowout, but the two big plays that those receivers made in that game were huge. The plays against Penn State. I mean, Mendoza, I'll give him all the credit in the world. He got the ball to the right spot, but these were not easy catches, and I never thought the receivers for Indiana got the credit they deserved.
Yeah, I actually, even maybe more than that, I thought their offensive and defensive lines were a little bit better than I thought. You never know until you see them in a game, and they ran for I think 140, 150 yards. So that to me against this Miami defensive line was impressive. There was a lot of really great mutual respect after the game. There was a video out there, Fletcher throwing a punch at the guy. It looks like the defensive lineman said something about his father. So someone said something about my father.
Fletcher pointed at him earlier in the game, so I don't think he was happy with how he was hit, what happened after a play, because there was a little incident during the game between those two as well. And I know Beck ran off. I've said all along, and I'm a big sportsmanship guy. I love the handshake line in hockey. Yeah. I like the respect of how golfers handle themselves, after a round and all those things. I want the U to be the U. It's my one area where I just don't care anymore. There's something about the U being the U that I'm okay with. But the other thing Indiana did, and I think you talked about it with their defensive line, Lee, they didn't miss tackles.
No,
they are a great tackling team, and that goes back to coaching.
Yeah, and the DBs were a little bit better than I thought they were also. But it was interesting, though, after the game, they interviewed one of the offensive linemen from Indiana, and he said, toughest game I've ever been in my life. And he was showing his hands, his face. He had scratches, cuts all over it. I mean, it was an out-and-out war. So that's what we want to see. We want to see great games. I'm not all for the portal and transferring 2-3 times, but turned out we saw some pretty good games in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And we have in the NFL as well. I think we're all a little disappointed that Bo Nix got hurt. I mean, I'm one of those guys that I just want to see the best players play. It was why for the longest time, I've never had a problem with PEDs. I don't. If it gets a guy back on the field more quickly from injury, do what you need to do because we're paying a ton of money to watch these games. I just want to see the best players. So I'm a little disappointed that Nix isn't playing for Denver. But the one thing that still is playing for Denver, Lee, is this defense. Number one sack team in the league. You know, Drake May got away with a poor performance against Houston because the other quarterback was god-awful. C.J. Stroud in back-to-back games was just terrible against Pittsburgh, terrible again against New England. But the Broncos lead the league in sacks. And, you know, I know May can get out of the pocket and he can do things with his legs, but will Denver be able to contain May and limit the use of his legs in this game?
That's going back in time when we grew up, $64,000 question. Now it's $1 million or plus $1 million question. So it's still going to be interesting. Yeah, it does lose a lot of luster because of starting quarterback. And Jarrett Stidham, I actually had seen a lot of him, and I'll give you my thoughts when we come back in the next segment. But I think I know Jarrett Stidham pretty well, maybe better than most people. So I think maybe a little bit more prepared, but still hasn't thrown a pass since 2023, which is crazy.
Absolutely. And then, you know, third time's a charm. Rams and Seahawks, they've played 4 times in 2 years. They're 2-2.
Yeah.
The difference in points is, I believe, it's 2 points. The Rams have outscored them 109-107. The yards, Lee, are 1,599 for the Rams, 1,589 for Seattle. I mean, obviously a different quarterback this year for the Seahawks than there was a year ago with Sam Darnold there. And we know, you know, in the first game that the Rams won, he threw 4 picks. In the second game that Seattle won, he threw 2 picks in that game. So that, you know, obviously can Darnold keep away from throwing the ball to the Rams? Probably the difference in the game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What was strange was 2 games this year, you can make an argument that Seattle was actually the better team in the first game at L.A., but Darnold throws 4 interceptions. They still had a chance to win the game on a 60-plus yard field goal last play of the game. And then the other game, the second game, thought the Rams were the better team, but Seattle found a way to win. So that's why we watch the games, and it's going to be fun. We'll talk about some player props too. I think there might be some player props to look at here also.
Well, in that second game, what did, Stafford threw for 457, I think, in that game. I mean, just ridiculous numbers for Stafford. Let me ask you a question just quickly, because I talked a lot in the first hour, and I'll probably do it again throughout the show on that mess of a press conference in Buffalo yesterday. But they're going to get a new coach.
Yeah.
How long is, in your estimation, whoever they hire, if it's Daboll, if they hire Brady, whoever it is, and a lot of people talking Daboll because he resurrected Josh Allen's career.
Right.
Okay. Josh Allen's 30 now. He can't keep running the way he's running forever. So I think it's a 3-year window before Josh Allen changes the way that philosophically he has to play the game. I just don't think he can, 34, it seems tough to me to be Superman and run the way that he does.
Right.
So does Buffalo have to get to a Super Bowl next year? 2 years, 3 years?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah. And how about if you're the receiver, the kid that was drafted that,
Ian Coleman. Yeah.
Coleman. I mean, how do you go into camp knowing that, wow, the coaching staff that was there that lobbied for me to get there, and I didn't do very well, is now gone.
By the way, I don't buy any of that, because here's Bean last year right after draft day.
When I went to bed that night, I was like, it's Keon unless someone just blows us away. We didn't feel anything was attractive enough for us to pass up on Keon.
So that sounds like a guy that was pretty sure about who he wanted to draft. I think that was a flat-out lie by Pagula. It's been proven. There's pressers. There's him talking about Keon running the 40 and that he ran a little slower 40, and he says this benefits us. I mean, they've got film and video and audio on the general manager loving this receiver. I think that, this made the owner, a guy who's worth $9.3 billion, look like a fool yesterday. He's Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. I'm Mark Miller. Lee's helping us out. David off today. More with Lee on the other side. Miller and Moulton.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So obviously, I know, and just so you know, don't give out any picks because we always got the Twitch and YouTube audience that's here. So I don't want to. I mean, I want them to pay for it, not get it for free.
Okay.
I know you still got a few weeks of football that's big for you, but when it turns, what's your bread and butter between now and when football season starts? UFC.
UFC is pretty big. What's interesting, last year it really fell off. I think it might pick back up because people don't have to pay for the pay-per-view, just get that Paramount app.
Right.
So I think that might help. There was no big fights at all. I mean, there was nothing. It's just a bad year. And then basketball is pretty big. March Madness, so it's So it's literally less than a month after, a month after the Super Bowl, you go right into March Madness, get a nice bump. So
you don't do golf, do you? You don't have a golf guy, do you?
Actually, I do have a guy. We do the 5 majors now. I have a guy that helps me with a golf. So we do top 10, top 20, top 30.
Right.
I mean, betting guys to win is ridiculous.
No, and I have a guy a friend of mine who gambles, but he is an excellent golfer and tried to make his way on the tour. So I think he knows a little more than the average guy. But his philosophy was when he bet, he goes, you've got to bet, you literally have to bet 5 guys. You got to bet, he was like 2 favorites, 2 middle odd guys, and then take a shot on somebody that might have some course history or is hot or whatever the case may be. And he goes, and if you hit 3 a year, you've pretty much made your money back.
Right. Yeah. There's some guys there that people don't know about, and not so much the course. Maybe they're just really starting to come on and play well, and people just don't follow them. So,
but yeah, I think you're right on UFC. I don't think no one will admit it, but I think the ESPN Plus thing was a failure on all ends.
Oh, terrible! It was terrible. And they were starting at 10 o'clock. They're going to start them also at 9. Almost everyone, even like Australia, the week after, they're going to do that at 9 o'clock. So I think that's also going to help out. And they got this is a good card. You know what? Let me give a UFC selection.
When is this weekend?
Yeah, Saturday night.
I don't follow that at all.
Okay, I'll give it out.
Oh, it's fun.
Okay,
love it.
Okay, so
it's a good tease for you anyhow, because if it hits and then you
Right.
People love their gambling.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I
And with
already
the app now.
They don't have, Hard Rock doesn't have highs. I didn't see it, at least. If they do, I couldn't find it. But I saw the Heisman odds from one of the betting houses.
No, they don't. They're not going to put it out early and stuff.
But somebody had it, and I mean, Arch is like 3-2. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I've hit them pretty good. So I noticed that my odds, my promotions, I get 3 and 4 team parlay promotions. I don't get boosts. I don't get anything. And they also, they don't allow me to bet UFC in fight live.
Okay. Do they throttle you down on your max on that too?
Yeah, they have a $10 max on me on live betting on the UFC.
What did I see? And I don't bet a whole lot, but I did laugh. The latest I hit some level. So my big boost was I get a $5, I get my bet back if I hit 5 of 6 legs on a parlay. Oh, really?
God, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, well, the real sports. So yeah. They're trying to get people. They want people, my 2 girls, their husband and boyfriend and all their friends. I see they're betting 3, 4, 5 team parlays. They're going to the Heat game, and a lot of times they'll do 3 or 4 on the same team. I'm like, do you really think that Hero and Bam and all these guys are going to hit their points, assists, and everything? You have to have. You're almost betting against yourself,
right?
People don't
the
get
number
that.
of points you got to score to get all. That's. I'm with you, but
right.
you said it. We've said it on this show. Unders, unders win, but they're boring.
Right.
No,
right. That's it.
No one wants to bet an under.
I'm going to give you an under too on a prop play.
All right.
For the NFL for one of the games.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton on a Thursday. David's off the next 2 days. Expected him back on Monday. Lee Sterling, kind enough to sit in with us for a couple of segments. So you hear a couple of voices. Lee Sterling, of course, from Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com. Lee's been with us since David and I have been doing a show together. 20 years that we've had Lee on the air, and Lee has done a lot for us over the years and helping out now when we need him. And so obviously very appreciative, Lee, of you joining us. We talked a little college football. Let's talk a little pro football. I know trends are a dangerous thing because that has nothing to do with the now. And when you look at this Seattle Rams game, the only thing that I saw as far as a trend, because this is, it's the number 1 scoring defense with Seattle, the number 1 scoring team with the Rams. This will be the 35th time we've had that matchup in the postseason. 17-17. But when division rivals play in the playoffs, it's the 21st time. The home team's 15-5. These 2 teams we just mentioned, how evenly matched they are. How much do you put into home field in Seattle? LA is essentially a dome team. Weather, it can be a little cold, a little rainy, a little ugly in Seattle. The crowd as good as any in football. How much of that do you think factors in? I don't think a whole hell of a lot, Lee.
No. These guys have been playing, they start at the 7-on-7 league, start at 6-7 years old. So, they travel across the country. These kids are flown. It's like basketball. Home court and basketball isn't as much as it used to be. So they work on silent counts, and they're professionals. This isn't like, going back to the 70s and 80s when I started watching the NFL, when I remember Ron Jaworski came in the first time. They used to, most people won't even remember this. They used to penalize home teams if they made too much noise and a quarterback couldn't get the snap off. So I think it was 1981, Ron Jaworski in the Orange Bowl kept stepping back, and they were threatening to penalize Miami. And then they finally decided, the referees, we're not going to penalize them. They told them, you better get going, you better snap the ball. So I don't think it's much of a factor anymore. It's just how you execute. What is amazing is the size and the speed and the just the physicality and the skill of these players. Now, whoever thought we'd see kickers kicking 60, 62, 63-yard field goals like it's nothing, and receivers like Puka and Jigma Smith, these guys are almost unguardable.
Yeah, Puka is amazing what he does, and Smith and Jigga the same way. I mean, first off, I've said it for a long time. If in doubt, take an Ohio State receiver when you're drafting.
Right.
All right. When you look at, you played quarterback, you played it in college, so you understand the position pretty well. This oblique injury, looks like Darnold got through it okay. How tough, let's just talk. He's got to be a pretty tough kid. I mean, I think we always said quarterbacks, they're not tough. You're playing through, Stafford with the hand, the oblique for Darnold. This is serious stuff for both. And Stafford wasn't good against Chicago. He wasn't. Had a great drive at the end, but didn't have a good game. Darnold, got the running game going. And that was kind of over quickly. He wasn't in a spot where he had pressure on him. I don't think that'll be the case Sunday.
No, how they're able to hold on to the ball and throw the ball in those kind of conditions that they played in last week is unbelievable. So, I remember trying to throw the ball in the state play quarterfinal one time, and it was like 41-42, and my hand was almost numb being so cold in Miami. But I don't think it's going to be much of a factor at all. So And I think that these guys have a different pain threshold. I don't think Sam Darnold's going to be, bothered by it. If he has to, they'll shoot him up a little bit and he'll play in the game. So I don't think that's a factor at all anymore. But the weather last week was absolutely frightening. My brother was there. His season tickets to the Bears. He flew up. He was watching the game in ski goggles. It was that cold.
Yeah, I thought between the Patriot fans that were dealing with a little snow and slush, and then obviously the frigid weather in Chicago, man. I've been in Florida for nearly 30 years. Nope, no thank you. No interest whatsoever. All right, Seattle, they've been a two-headed monster at running back. Walker's, I think, the better of the two backs, can do a little bit more, but Charbonnet's out. So when you look at Walker in this game, is that you always talk about props. Is that a guy you're looking at for Sunday?
That's funny that you mentioned it. That's the prop that I was going to give out. So they have him at 88.5 rushing yards. He had 116 last week. And I don't think they trust Velus Jones Jr. But there's a but. George Halani, it looks like, is going to play. And if you watched him in preseason or early in the year, George Halani is a really good change of pace running back. A little bit more speed, not as much power. I doubt whether either of these guys will be effective on the goal line, but no Zach Charbonnet, but he's out with the ACL. He did have 97, did Kenneth Walker, week 18 against San Francisco, but 51 against Carolina before that. He did have 100 versus the Rams.
Right.
But 55 was on one play.
Right, 55 on one play, and I think he had 57 in the other game and 25 on one play.
67.
But he had 25 on one play, so he's busting a big run in both games against the Rams.
I like the under. I think that he's not going to be as big a factor, and maybe I'm going to wait till the George Halani numbers come out. That might be the guy, if it's like 8, 10, 12, that I might take a shot on. Also on the other side, I like Jordan Whittington out of Texas, the receiver for the Rams. They have him at over 8.5 receiving yards. He did catch 2 against Chicago, but I noticed, and only had 2 targets, but I did notice that Matthew Stafford was eyeing him a couple times. So he's a guy, mainly a returner. It's come out of nowhere. He caught 1 for 19 in Seattle in the last game. Over 8.5 yards, maybe you take a shot on Jordan Whittington. Underrated guy that seems to be playing his best football now.
When anything in the AFC from a prop bet that you like in that game, or is it just, this is a tough game. Like I said, Denver's the number 1 sack team in the league. Stidham playing, does Dobbins play? So I don't know. I don't trust Sean Payton, even with Stidham playing, to run the ball enough in the game.
No. it's going to be tough. Nick Benito, if you can find a sack prop out there, seems to be playing his best ball. He's from, I'm trying to think, he might have been St. Thomas. Yeah, I think he was from St. Thomas and ended up going to Oklahoma. I believe there's a story. I met his father one time, and his father said that Randy Shannon came in and told him there was going to be when Randy Shannon was at Florida, that if someone ended up changing their mind, he was their third Russian they were looking at, that he would have a spot for him at Florida. And he's the father. I'm going to be nice. Said some explicatives and told him to leave. So he's only about 235, 240 pounds, but he is one of those guys that just gets the most out of every ounce of talent he has, doesn't stop. And, the two tackles, he might be able to do some work on them and get a sack or two in that game.
Well, we've got 3 football games left. We'll have Lee on. We always do Super Bowl week where we get into the prop bets, and literally the biggest lock that Lee has, he has nothing to do with. It is the most guaranteed winner that you will get on the Super Bowl. It is the national anthem over-under that is done by his daughter. I am guessing she has already begun her research on that project, Lee.
She has. She's a little busier than normal since we last did a segment. She's the understudy for a musical that came over from London that's going to start in Delaware. There's talk that it's going to go off Broadway or Broadway after. So she's in rehearsals, but she thinks there's something. They haven't come out with a number yet, but she thinks there's something that she's found in the singer for the national anthem. So she told me, look out, this is going to be a big one after a couple tough years. And most of them, the last 2 years, I think fell within 2-3 seconds.
Lee, thanks so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. We'll talk before the Super Bowl. Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
Lee
details.
County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installers, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Lee played some small college ball, Robes. Nothing major. And Canada Relief, I am aware about the Wings. You missed the starting five. You don't think I had my Wings stories in there, for crying out loud? Best team in the conference right now? Actually, that's Tampa, and it ain't close, but I can say points-wise for the moment at least. Yeah, well, we didn't have time. Sorry. You missed out. Missed out on your free pick. 800-400-9741. Yeah, I'm not even halfway done, Johnny Mac. Don't speak too soon. I could still F this up. Don't kid yourself. Got to say, I worked a lot harder yesterday than I normally do. I did find out a little earlier than I've let on, but I've been just a little ticked off. We couldn't get anybody in the 8 o'clock hour. David even tried to help. He struck out, and I struck out, and was really hoping to get Darren Heitner on. That was the one I wanted more than anything. I must say I have a much more respect, and I've said this before, of the work you have to do for the starting five. Because I get everything late. I get as much NFL stuff, like the stuff that's already done, you can get done. But I went to bed at, I don't know, like 10 last night. I watched the Wings game and a little bit of other stuff. So I went to bed around 10:30, and none of the games are done. I mean, there was 2 NBA games done at that time. There was two college games done and 1 NHL game done. So all that work has to be done. I got up a little before 4 this morning. Usually it's 4:30. And probably we'll get up a little earlier tomorrow because I didn't really have enough. I will have more time tomorrow. My normal prep work I don't need to do. I might call Mike. I may. I probably should have. I talked to him a couple of days ago. He called me out of nowhere. He's not breaking down games, though. I mean, I can get Mike's. Don't get me wrong. Mike is fabulous, but he's not breaking down games, and that's why I wanted Lee. Same thing. Yeah, no way. I mean, that's someone. Even my wife said, "Get Seth." Seth doesn't do the NFL, so if you don't do the NFL, what point is there 2 days before championship weekend? We're a football show. I mean, at the end of the day, we're a football show.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton on a Thursday. Appreciate you joining me this morning. David is off for a couple of days, expecting him back on Monday. Tomorrow on the show, Pat Kerwin will join us, getting us ready for championship weekend. And David Sampson for the first time in quite a while. It will be my last opportunity to speak with David for a while. I have, after today, 5 shows left before I will take a hiatus for I don't know how long. I have to be really honest. I have no idea when I'll be able to do a show. It looks like I found out where, if you didn't listen on Tuesday, don't mean to dread it, to get into it too detailed, but I have cancer and I have to have a bone marrow transplant, and I will be going to Moffitt Cancer Center in Tampa next Friday. I will be there for a few weeks. They say anywhere from post-transplant, which is the February 6th for me, 15 to 20 days. So sometime around the end of February, I will get out of the hospital, but I need to be up in that area for a couple of months. I spoke to where I'm going to be staying during that time and said, hey, I do this radio show. Am I going to be bothering people if I talk for 4 hours if I'm able to? And they thought it was great that I was going to do a radio show there. So my plan is to be back on the air as soon as humanly possible. It's going to drive me nuts to not be on Super Bowl week or after the Super Bowl or during the damn Olympics, which I think anybody that knows me knows how much I love the sport of hockey, and I'm looking forward to it, even though the Russians don't have a team, which really isn't a championship without them. By the way, for hockey fans out there, in particular Red Wing hockey fans, Sergei Fedorov did I think an hour with the Spit and Chicklets guys. I've only seen clips. I get this from my son, who's a bigger Red Wing fan than me. He loved it, but some great stories by Fedorov that I caught of when he was playing junior. Alexander Mogilny, Pavel Bure, and Sergei Fedorov were a line on a World Junior team. Ouch. So if you're looking for your podcast listens, good stuff. So Lee gave us a couple of prop bets. He's going under on Kenneth Walker. And, you may say without Charbonnet there that that's not a good bet. But as we pointed out, he did run for, I think, 100 yards exactly in the second game against the Rams. He had a 55-yard run. He only ran for 57 in the other game, had a 25-yard run. So I think Walker's a big part of this. I mean, we all know the bigger part of the game is, can Sam Darnold not throw the ball to the Rams? He's played them twice. He's been intercepted 6 times. In the 21-19 Rams win in L.A., he threw 4 picks, no touchdowns. In the win in overtime, he threw 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Number 1 scoring D, Seattle. Number 1 scoring offense, the Rams. It's happened 34 times in the postseason. It's a dead even split. Mentioned it before, conference championship games between division rivals, the home team is 15-5. One thing about the Rams, and this is where the picks come from, that really is. I think Pat tomorrow will back me on this. Each team has 47 sacks. They're middle-of-the-pack sack teams in the league. They both don't blitz. The Rams have the second lowest blitz rate in the league. Seattle has the 7th lowest blitz rate, meaning they obviously can get to the quarterback with their front 4. And when you can do that, obviously coverage is different. And will that put Darnold in a spot where he throws more picks? I have a couple people that I like and listen to that think you figure out Darnold early. Like, you kind of know what game you're getting out of Sam Darnold. So all to be determined Sunday. Seattle favored in the game. And in the other game, obviously without Nix, the Patriots are 4.5-point favorites. Seattle, a 2.5-point favorite. So the spread has moved in the Patriot game. It opened at 5.5. We will see where it closes. But when it opened at 5.5, it is the largest home dog in the history of conference championship games. Since the NFL moved to the AFC-NFC format in 1970, we have had 112 conference championship games. The biggest home dog was the 2012 Falcons, who were 4.5-point dogs against the 49ers. The Niners, by the way, won, but they didn't cover. 28-17. 24 was the final. So you have no idea what to expect from Stidham. There are people that think he throws the ball well. You know, Denver didn't run it with Knicks. Their running backs in the game ran the ball 10 times. Knicks ran it 12 times. Bunch of those were sneaks. But he gave the running backs the ball just 10 times in the entire game. Do you trust Sean Payton to give the running backs the ball more against a defense that's much better against the run than the Bills? The New England defense is rock solid. We all know that. Now, no way of really telling in the last game against Houston because C.J. Stroud was awful. But the run defense for New England is 6th in the league. Opponents average just barely over 100 yards per game when playing against New England. The Broncos are 18th in running the ball. They're 11th in throwing it. Their yards overall, 12th in the league. So the offense isn't a juggernaut for the Broncos. It's pretty much middle of the pack. They're 14th in scoring, 12th in yards, 11th in passing yards. They're pretty good at third down at 10th, 42%. The Patriots are about the same stopping third down. They're 12th. So, this all relies on a backup quarterback. What can Denver do? What can Peyton create? Stidham said all the right things. I'm preparing the same way that I've always prepared. But with Sean Payton, you would think he's going to want to run the ball. Will they be able to? Dobbins is in that window that they could activate him. We'll see. That's the early game. The late game, the Rams and the Seahawks. And again, Seattle, a 2.5-point favorite. Couple of poll questions today. One of them coming after the just ridiculous press conference yesterday that the Bills did. Terry Pagula, he's worth $9.3 billion. Boy, he didn't sound like it yesterday. When asked yesterday about why they lost, he was quick to point out it was the referee.
And led to the group falling short of that.
I mean, Jay.
A bad call.
It is a bad call. So you fire your coach over a bad call. He went on to say that they hit a wall and I guess needed change. Owners react because of other owners. Did the fact that Baltimore fired Harbaugh have anything to do with the Bills firing McDermott? I don't know. I thought McDermott's job was on the line in the Jacksonville game. After that, I thought he was safe. I really did. But it leads to one of our poll questions. So, how quickly do the Bills need to make the Super Bowl to justify the firing? 1, 2, or 3 years? Anything after that, it doesn't justify it to me. There's no way. Look, if they do it whenever the Bills get there, Bills Mafia is going to be extremely happy. I get it. They should be. And the other side of this, if you're some of us are fans of bad teams. So I get the Dolphin fan who's not won a playoff game in a quarter century saying, man, I'd do anything to go 8-8 in the playoffs. I get it being someone from Michigan, and I have a little Lions blood in me, but it's not the end all be all. I have my other teams in that state that I live and die with. But I get it. But certainly, if you have Josh Allen and you're a Bills fan, if this tenure of Josh Allen as your quarterback comes and goes and you don't win the last game, you'll wonder for the longest time, when are we going to get that opportunity again? When you're bad, you're bad. I mean, we talked about Green Bay. Should they have won more with the quarterbacks that they had and Favre and Rodgers? Maybe, but they did win them. They got their Super Bowl, and that's enough for most. As David said on this show a million times, as a Giants fan, he thinks he's gotten far more than maybe he deserved. But is being good and going to the playoffs good enough? For a lot of fan bases, we may be jealous, but trust me, I'm a big Tigers fan. That's my baseball team. They had a great run in the early part of this century. A great run. A lot of division wins, a lot of playoff appearances. But they didn't win the last game. So no matter what team you're a fan of, you can justify it all you want. Without winning, another fan base can look at them and, boy, we'd love to have that. But when you're in it, that's not how you think. And I know Bills fan right now is they were fine with the McDermott firing. I don't know many Bills fans that were not fine with the McDermott firing. After yesterday, they changed their tune. They think their organization's in disarray. And how could it not sound that way? When Bean was asked about the Coleman draft choice, Pagula jumped in. Here's owner Terry Pagula jumping in on the question of drafting Keon Coleman.
Yeah, can I interrupt? I'll address the Keon situation. The coaching staff pushed to draft Keon. I'm not saying Brandon wouldn't have drafted him, but he wasn't his next choice. That was Brandon being a team player and taking advice of his coaching staff, who felt strongly about the player. And, he's taken, for some reason, heat over it and not saying a word about it. But I'm here to tell you the true story.
Here's Bean following the draft last year on drafting Keon Coleman.
When I went to bed that night, I was like, it's Keon unless someone just blows us away. We didn't feel anything was attractive enough for us to pass up on Keon.
So someone's lying. And if I'm Keon Coleman, I'm calling a realtor if I own, because he ain't going to be there next year. By the way, Ayuk to Buffalo, because he's done. John Lynch said yesterday, we're done. He's played his last snap as a San Francisco 49er. So maybe that's a destination for now soon to be the former receiver in San Francisco. Championship weekend, couple of days away. We revisited the national championship with Lee Sterling. We've got 2 poll questions up today. Talked about the one. How long does it need for the Bills to get to a Super Bowl to justify the firing? And it's National Hot Sauce Day, people. National Hot Sauce Day. I put 4 up there. It might not have your favorite. If you've got some obscure brand, I missed out. There are several more that I know of. I didn't put Crystal. I didn't put Louisiana Hot Sauce. I went with these 4. Tabasco, Frank's Red Hot, Sriracha, and Cholula. Cholula right now, that's my choice as well. I have 3 of these 4 in the house. Tabasco is the only one that I don't, and that's probably because I don't drink Bloody Marys as much as I used to. Tabasco is kind of a staple for me in Bloodies. But Cholula getting 38% of the vote. Frank's Red Hot is second. Tabasco third. Sriracha bringing up the rear. That Mark Miller, Miller_Moulton to vote. Trent Balley, our old producer, will join me in the Diamond District bonus hour. We'll get his thoughts on championship weekend as he helps me out for the final hour. We'll get back at it, talk a little championship weekend next hour, as well as some news from Tampa. The Bucs look like they have a new offensive coordinator. When we come back, we'll fill you in on that. The Dolphins have their presser today to introduce the new coach and GM. What are your expectations for the Dolphins? I know Delfan just wants any way to turn this thing around. It's been a long time since the Dolphins obviously have had a playoff win. When we come back, though, we will talk about college basketball, and another G Leaguer that's going to play back in the NCAA.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise at Seminole Casino Hotel. We're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7, this is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 2333-PLAY-WISE.
Our wedding band event is back at the Diamond District, January 24th and 25th.
Standout designers from Crown, Ajapi, and Veragio.
2 days only, 20% off designer pricing.
Diamonds, gold, or platinum. One of a kind or perfectly simple. We make it personal and easy.
20% off, January 24th and 25th. Only at the Diamond District. Se habla español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thank you, Aurora, and thank you, Sonny. I truly believe if I was as confident about my golf game as I was about beating cancer, I'd be a 2 handicap. I'm telling you. I got this. Went through an hour and a half Zoom call about it yesterday. That was fascinating. Some of the crap that I've got to do. Yowza. My daughter, I told her I might lose my hair. Her comment was, do you think it'll grow back and be better? Yep. Yinzer, who do you want to be the Steeler coach? You want Flores? I hope you don't want McCarthy. I'm with you. I think he would be great there. I think it fits what they've done throughout their history. Defensive guy, the name is known, but he's unknown. That's my pick. Got to be honest, talking a whole show, the voice gets a little tight. Holy cow. And we're only halfway through this sucker. Yeah, I did find a new toy with the videos. I'm having a lot of fun with that.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The 8 o'clock hour. The 8 o'clock hour on Miller and Moulton. Usually, I would like to say it's the grade 8, but due to some circumstances out of our control, David's got a couple of days off. And with that, we struck out on our 8 a.m. guest list. So you've got me, solo amigo, for the next hour. We'll talk some football. We'll talk a little college sports, particularly college basketball, and a little more on the championship games, revisit some things from the Bills presser yesterday as well. But I did tell you that the Bucs have made some news. It looks like the Bucs have their next offensive coordinator. Adam Schefter and others reporting that Zach Robinson is going to be the new offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had spent the last 2 seasons as the OC in Atlanta. Now, they were 13th in scoring in 2024. They were 24th last year. But how much do we put on the OC and how much do we put on Penix? And then Penix gets hurt. Cousins didn't play well early, so we will see. The other part of this, though, with Robinson, he's 39 years old for the record. He was the Rams passing game coordinator when Baker Mayfield was claimed off of waivers and spent time there in 2022. It's similar to how Liam Cohen ended up with Tampa Bay. So that's your new OC in Tampa. Obviously, they have gone through OCs like Chicklets, have the Bucs, but this is someone out of that McVay tree. They've done reasonably well. The coaches that have left him have done a pretty good job around the league, and obviously that's a great offensive mind. We know how well Liam Cohen's done in Jacksonville, so we will see yet another OC for Baker Mayfield in a division that's in flux right now. I mean, obviously no one finished with a winning record in that division. How much do you trust Carolina going forward? How much do you trust Stefanski and the new regime in Atlanta? You know, Stefanski not only coming over from Cleveland, but he brought Tommy Rees, his OC, with him to Atlanta. There's nothing really about the Cleveland offense that's made me jump up and down the past couple of years. You can simply blame that on the quarterback. But with Penix there, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, do we really know who Michael Penix is yet? Is he going to be a guy that's going to be, I'm not even saying elite. Are we going to put him, because right now he's got to be a bottom third guy. Is he a middle third guy? They obviously have weapons. You know, they've got London, the receiver, who's terrific. Bijan Robinson is one of the best running backs in the game. Not only can run it, can catch it. So I love the weapons that they have in Atlanta. I like the defensive draft picks that they had in Atlanta. They were able to get to, that's the area. I love the Tampa Bay offense. I think the Bucs offensive line is, if not very good, certainly good. But I like the Bucs O-line. I like, Mike Evans could be gone, but I still like the receiving group. Ibuka's going to be better next year. If Godwin's healthy, I like where they are there. I like their running back. So, and I think we're all, I think we all believe that Baker, at worst, is at the top end of the middle third. If you don't want to say Baker's one of the best 11 quarterbacks in the league, I'm fine with that. But don't you have to put him in that next group? I mean, I don't think there's any way to not put him near the top of that middle third at worst. But defensively, this is where all Bucs fans have had a problem. Todd Bowles, he's the guy that runs the defense. Jason Light, he's the guy that gets the players. No one's been able to get them an edge rusher. They're aging at linebacker. We don't know if David's going to be back, and if he's not, that's fine. Great career. But where, to me, the offense isn't the problem. If this hire works, like the tree that it comes from, think it could work out very well for Tampa Bay. But at the end of the day, this team's going to have to develop a defense. The good news is, I don't know about you, but I think this division is mediocre at best. At best. Now, they went after Mike McDaniel. He ended up going to L.A. to work with Harbaugh and the Chargers. That is as unlikely of a match as you could have foreseen. Will it work? We'll see. I mean, obviously, the irony is as he leaves coaching Tua and now will coach Justin Herbert. And they've got a good running back room. That offensive line, if it comes back healthy, is good. They're a receiver short. Clearly a receiver short. Ladd McConkey, good, but I don't think he's a 1. Could he be a 1A? Maybe. But they need to get help at receiver there desperately, so I'll be fascinated because in that division, if you were just to take that division right now, and I know that the Chargers had the better record and made the postseason. I get it. But heading into next year, and particularly now, Nick's had his surgery. Everything went well. He put a nice piece out on social media yesterday saying all the right things. If you were to rank the AFC West next year, heading into the season, are you still putting Denver number 1, or do you think the Chiefs rebound? I would probably reluctantly lean Denver because I think that defense is in really good shape and it's not going anywhere. And Knicks has superseded anything I thought he was going to do. But then what? Is it the Chiefs or is it the Chargers? And what does McDaniel bring there? So I think, there's unknowns there as we head into the draft and the free agent world. But As far as the Bucs in the NFC South, right now, I don't know. The Falcons, you could argue, have the best roster, but they don't have the best quarterback. I'll take Baker over every other quarterback in that division. Now, New Orleans will get better, but they're still the bottom of the division. So the Bucs, Zach Robinson, he's the new offensive coordinator, comes from the McVay tree, worked with Baker that time when he was picked up by the Rams, so at least there's a little history there. I think that's a benefit to Baker, and I obviously think that there may have been some say-so. It wasn't the first choice of the Bucs. Hell, it might not have been the second choice of the Bucs, but that's who they settle upon. That is the new OC in Tampa. The Dolphins, they will have their presser today. Green Bay South, as the Packers DC, the new coach in Miami, and the Packers GM, or rather the GM coming from the Packers as well. So Jeff Hafley and John Eric Sullivan introduced today at 11 a.m. by the Dolphins as the new brain trust of that organization. And it's another one. It's impossible right now, and I don't think we can actually give this group a grade until the end of the 2026 season. There's, when people start giving, I saw grades, and someone gave the coaching hire a C. How? Because he was 3-9 the last year he was the head coach at Boston College? You can't win at Boston College, and he knew that and got the hell out of there before he killed his coaching career. Their defense 2 years ago, excellent. This year, really good, up until the point when Micah got hurt. So, from a mentality standpoint, I think everybody expected Miami to go with a defensive mind after McDaniel. I think looking back, anybody who liked Tua, my hands up, everyone. My hands up. Was wrong. Dead wrong. I'm in that group. Flores was right. He was a defensive guy. He might have, I think there's a lot of people that wish Flores was still the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. By the way, Flores re-upped with the Vikings, but that does not mean that he may not be a head coach next year. It locks him in at defensive coordinator because there were other teams trying to acquire his services as a defensive coordinator. The Vikings lock him down as their DC, but he can still leave for a head coaching vacancy. Stories out there that both the Ravens and the Steelers are interested. The Steelers have had a bunch of interviews. Two guys from the Rams, one of them being Shula, their defensive coordinator. They interviewed McDaniel yesterday. Buffalo's got their list. They interviewed Brady yesterday. Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator. Dable seeming to be many people's leader in the clubhouse for that job. They had their press conference yesterday. It was a train wreck. Terry Pagula sounded like an infant. I mean, the guy's worth $9.3 billion. And go listen to the clips from the interview. It's awful. If I'm a Bills fan today, I'm not happy. I'm not happy about the direction. But again, winning the press conference and winning the offseason means nothing. And it's our poll question today for the Bills. What's their window? How long does this new coach have to justify the firing? Most of you saying 2 years. 18% of you say it's got to get done next year, that they've got to get to the Super Bowl. And then the question I'm having a little fun with today. It's National Hot Sauce Day. So, Cholula, Sriracha, Frank's Red Hot, or Tabasco. Right now, Cholula with an overwhelming lead. We'll talk some college sports. The Duke quarterback can transfer can get in the transfer portal, but can't enroll to play football anywhere else until his hearing at the beginning of next month. A temporary restraining order issued by a judge yesterday, so Duke wins really the first round of the fight. By no means is this fight over. If I were to bet, I'd bet on the quarterback playing somewhere else. There's a lot of you that say if he doesn't want to play there, Why do you want him? But when is a contract a contract? He signed a 2-year deal. It's for name, image, and likeness. It's not for playing. That's the gray area right now in the NCAA.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Spring training is a big win for Lee County. Beginning next month, we will proudly host the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins right here in Southwest Florida. It's more than great baseball. It's jobs, visitors, and $69 million in tourism impact for our local economy. Get your tickets at RedSox.com and Twins.com. Be part of something that strengthens our community. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Well, not so much. David's off today and tomorrow, for that matter. So I'll steer the ship for a couple of days. Thanks for listening. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. You want to text the show? The Pelican Roofing of Florida text line is open. Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9-PELICAN. 1-866-9-PELICAN. Probably the right time of year if you need a new roof. Before the rains come in the summer, give them a call. Commercial, residential, make sure you tell them Miller and Moulton sent you. We'd love to keep them on forever and ever as a sponsor, and your support is the one that gets that done. We always want to thank all of our sponsors, whether it's Lee County, the Cape Coral Police Department, Floor Meisters. I'll forget some. I hate doing this. American Paint Supplies, Pelican Roofing, the Diamond District, who's jumped back on with us. Jimmy the Beef Guy. I had lunch there yesterday. Glass Doctor. Seminole Casino. Seminole Hotel and Casino. Woo, 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 woo. Don't screw that up. Don't screw that up. But the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line is open. 21,000 is the number. If you've never texted the show before, you need to text the keyword Miller to 21,000. Miller to 21,000. And then the line is open, and you can text anything you would like. Good, bad, or indifferent. I don't really care. You want to come at me and crush me? I'm game. Couple of poll questions today. How long do the Bills have to get to a Super Bowl after the McDermott firing? 1, 2, or 3 years. Right now, half of you saying 2 years. And it's National Hot Sauce Day. Cholula, your winner at this point over Frank's Red Hot. Tabasco in third. Sriracha in last. Sriracha jumped out to an early lead. If you don't subscribe to X, you can text me what you think of that. So we do not have all of the divisional round television numbers just yet, nor do we have the national championship television numbers. But Saturday was a bit of a mixed bag, if you will. Bills and Broncos killed it. Did 39.5 million viewers. It's the most watched Saturday NFL game ever. It peaked at 51.2 million. The Niners and Seattle did 32 million. That was down 5% from last year's Commanders-Lions game. So, the Commanders and the Lions were in that in the second half. The Commanders controlled the game, but the Lions always felt like they were in it. San Francisco was done early. That sucker was over. So I can understand why there was a little dip in the ratings. But tomorrow, they say the NFL divisional ratings will come out later today for the Sunday games. I've not seen when they expect to give us national championship numbers for Monday's Alabama-Miami game, but obviously I'll keep an eye out all day today. One of the fun things that I did see, and Curt Cignetti is an interesting duck, to say the very least. But I thought as the college football playoff was going on, I don't want to say changed, but to me, he became more likable. And I had no problem with his confident, cocky attitude. Google me. He was pulling the Barkley, pulling the Shaq to Barkley. Google me, Chuck. But I win everywhere I go. And he's right. He did. But he came off to a lot of folks as arrogant. While you had maybe the most likable quarterback that we've, for a Heisman winner in Mendoza since a guy like Tebow. And I know people didn't like Tebow for different reasons. I don't get it. But Tebow was the genuine article. Mendoza seems to be the same way. Mendoza, by the way, a couple of things about him. He recently updated his only social media page, his LinkedIn page. That's it. No other social media for Mendoza. And also made a comment, and I don't know if it was this week or it was earlier, basically that he didn't have a girlfriend. He goes, because I'd want to spend all my hanging out time with her, and I spend that extra time watching film. He's going to be the first overall pick. By the way, you did hear Lee Sterling on the show earlier today. Lee did a couple of segments with me this morning. He does not think Mendoza translates to a good NFL quarterback. A lot of time to get into that. Combines, private workouts, all that stuff coming. Doesn't really matter what Lee thinks. The Raiders are taking him first overall. Write it down. But Lee already on the anti as far as Mendoza in the NFL. But Cignetti, when he was interviewed after the Oregon game, was basically asked about, the championship game. And he goes, I'm going to take a moment and enjoy this. I'm going to have a beer. So he was asked in a presser what kind of beer. And he said, I drink Hoosier beer. Hoosier beer is from Upland Brewing. It is a Bloomington brewery. Very wisely, the local Bloomington brewery announced that they are giving Cignetti a lifetime supply of their beer. Now, based on the fact that Kurt Cignetti said, at my age, I only have one beer, things get a little foggy after that. A lifetime supply of beer for Cignetti is what it would take me and my golfing buddies to get through in 18 holes. Yes, Z, I'm talking to you. But love the move by the brewery. How many beers are you? Don't you have to? Cignetti, lifetime supply. I'm with you. I bet you Hoosier beer is flying off the shelves in Bloomington. And whenever they have their parade and celebration for their natty, I think there'll be a few Hoosier beers. They better get that going in that brewery. They better be prepared to make a lot of that beer in the next little while. So the quarterback from Duke, Mensa there, he lost in court yesterday. I don't know how much he actually lost. We spent a great deal of time talking about this yesterday. But Darian Mensa had said he was staying at Duke. And then on the last day of the portal being opened, announced he was going to transfer and was expected to go to Miami. He still may end up at Miami. Duke sued him. And we had Bud Elliott on yesterday, and we got into, is a contract a contract? And this is the gray area of the NCAA, because they're not signing to play football. They're signing for name, image, and likeness. It's why Miller and Moulton, for the better part of at least a year, if not longer, have said these colleges need to make these players employees. The NCAA does not want to do that. Then you collectively bargain. Now, there are some players who have buyout clauses in their contract. That would prevent, in some cases, and we think it largely prevented the Washington quarterback from going to LSU that he was talking about doing, and eventually he stayed with the Huskies. But with the Duke quarterback, he can get in the portal. The judge allowed him to get into the portal, but it is the temporary restraining order that Duke sued him and won the restraining order yesterday prevents Mensa from enrolling to play football for another school until the court hearing that is in early February. He can enter the portal. He just can't sign with another school. So this story will be in limbo until the first week of February, and then we'll figure out if and when he's able to transfer from Duke. A Miami quarterback yesterday left in the portal. He's going to East Carolina. They're expecting, there'll be a few more, obviously, guys going to the draft. And so Miami's got some revamping to do. But Cristobal's done a really nice job recruiting. He's done well in the portal. Seems that he's got it going the right way. But the quarterback position, obviously, a big part of that. Miller and Moulton, college basketball, back in the top of the news cycle because a G League player, he got a temporary restraining order to return to college after being drafted. That's next.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
If you're still skiing at over 70, Sonny, I think you deserve a free lift anywhere. But yes, that is cool. Apparently, You Michigan folks, I know some friends that were up there. Someone said that Nubs had the best snow. This is like a few weeks ago, a guy who skied his whole life. Best snow he's seen since he was a kid, and he's my age. No snowblower, Johnny Finger Lakes? What the hell? You get too much snow there to be doing that by hand, for crying out loud. Our snowblower never worked with a dam either. It seemed like that thing got clogged up. That was as much of a pain in the butt as it was to use, but I'm sure they're better than they were 100 years ago when I was using a snowblower. I bet it does. No, shoveling's no joke. By the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages for the starting five today. Good for you, Johnny. 75 out shoveling snow. You're a tougher man than I am. What, shoveling snow or skiing, Javier?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Well, no, it's not. It's Mark Miller. David's got the day off. In fact, he has tomorrow off, too. I'm expecting him back on Monday. He may tell me, screw it, you're doing the next 6 shows yourself. I'll come back when you head north. Little bit of an interruption of Miller and Moulton here for the next little while. I am going to be on hiatus beginning, I guess my last show is the 29th, beginning January 30th. I will be gone for a few weeks. We'll see how long. All depends on, quite frankly, how things go while I'm at Moffitt. And I'll keep people updated. If you follow me on X, I'll put some updates there. Hell, I might even do it on Instagram and TikTok. I thought about it. I just don't know how to edit video that well. That's a side project for today. So, as I alluded to on the break, we've got another G Leaguer who's coming back to college basketball. Charles Bedico. Now, when I read the article, it said former Alabama standout. I looked at the numbers. I wouldn't call him a standout. Very good defensive player. But he left and was drafted in 2023. He's never played a game in the NBA. And he has played 46 G League games over the course of the last 3 seasons. He decided that he wants to come back to college and was granted a temporary restraining order. Again, he's never appeared in an NBA game, was drafted by the Spurs, a judge in Alabama, which obviously, where else are you going to go? But the judge's ruling came hours after NCAA president Charlie Baker reiterated that Bedico and other players who have signed NBA contracts would not be granted eligibility to play college basketball. The coaches want Baker to stand up for something. Here's Mark Pope when asked about this particular situation yesterday.
The one stopgap that is kind of spreading right now that maybe has some legs, it's kind of a last stand, is the NCAA does get to decide who gets to go to the NCAA tournament. Like, they get to decide that. They have that power. And so at some point when they've been very, very clear about what the rules that they're going to try and enforce, they might lose in court, but they still get to decide what games count towards the NCAA tournament. And I'm not saying that to penalize any team. I'm just saying that because at some point it is important that we take a stand and regain some tiny ounce of sanity. And until someone tells me different, I still believe the NCAA has full power over who gets in the NCAA tournament and what games they count towards your NCAA tournament bid. And at the end of the day, that is what drives all of us. So hopefully we'll take a stand there and clean this up for everybody. Because right now everybody is chasing their tails, and I think it's a place we can take a stand. I hope we will. This game matters too much. The NCAA tournament is too extraordinary a deal. These high school players and these young players and all these players matter too much. College basketball matters too much. It's just time to take a stand, bring a little bit of sanity to this deal, say it publicly, and let's move forward.
That's Mark Pope when talking about the NCAA and Bedico and the kid for Baylor and the pro players from Europe, that he is saying the NCAA has the power. Now, what's interesting about this, and this is the one thing, I don't want to contradict what he says, but the one thing that he doesn't say there, that I think he leaves out, in my opinion, is that Alabama's a tournament team with or without this guy. So saying which games count towards the NCAA is a nice statement. You know, some of the others, whether it's Calipari, whether it's Izzo, have been a lot more boisterous in saying that you can't allow this. And in fact, why the hell, if you're a college coach, what's your reasoning for even recruiting high school kids anymore? Why not go to the portal, pay the best kids you can to leave and come to your school, and hell, find some G Leaguers that haven't played in the NBA yet, that left early for big money, maybe even before NIL, and they're not in the NBA. Why wouldn't you sign them? But what he and these coaches are asking for, and rightly so, is for the NCAA to make a stand. You know what? And Pope says it. You might lose in court. I get it. But at some point, and Izzo has said this a bunch, he believes the NCAA's got to have some guts to stand up for this. And the NCAA, seemingly with Charlie Baker, do not have any guts. How does this apply to football? I don't know. But if a player leaves early and maybe doesn't make an NFL team, I don't see why you wouldn't go get him back. Now, the one thing about football, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but 2 years ago, I thought it was around 120 players declared early eligibility for the NFL draft. This year, that number was closer to 46, if that's not the exact number. So the college football player, for all of the reasons that you guys already know, you guys and gals, don't want to dismiss the 7 women that are listening. But now that you can get paid in college, and obviously we saw it with the Oregon quarterback, he's coming back for another year. But Simpson at Alabama isn't. He's going to the draft. It would be interesting if all of a sudden through the process he finds out he's going to be a 3rd or 4th round pick, which I've seen him projected as a 1st round pick. I don't think he's a 1st round quarterback. I think he made a big mistake by going, particularly when you can get paid what he was going to get paid to stay. Someone's going to take a chance on Carson Beck. Do I think Carson Beck can be a good NFL quarterback? Right now, I don't. But he got his bag. He got 4.5 last year, maybe 5. So I don't begrudge, and I have never begrudged the college athlete for getting as much money as they can in this process. Do I like how the transfer portal works? Not exactly. Do I wish they could only transfer once? Yeah, I think that would be better. But most of these NIL deals are 1-year deals. And when they're being challenged for being multi-year deals, they're losing. So this Mensa case with Duke is a big one going forward. I wouldn't bet on the NCAA winning. I don't think Duke will win this lawsuit. I'm going to take Darren Heitner and his side with the kid before I'm going to take Duke's side with keeping the kid at Duke. But 3 years removed and drafted in the NBA, and you win your court case, and part of the reasoning that the judge sided with Charlie Bedico is because of the European players who are also playing professionally and then coming to college. So can you rein it back in? Can the NCAA ever win one of these cases and change the way that now some of the college coaches are out recruiting for transfers? Now, I know we don't watch college hoop the way we once did. And I know a lot of you probably won't watch a whole hell of a lot of college hoop between now and when March Madness begins. And look at Indiana just won a national title with one of the older teams that's ever played college football. Their average age was only a year less than the Green Bay Packers' average age, for crying out loud. So I think the starters, at least. So it is, are we going to get to the point, and we've talked about this for a while on this show. David and I have always been believers that you should get 5 years to play college football. Just give them 5 years. Quit the red shirt crap. You got 5 years. You want to leave after 3, 4, whatever the case may be, because the NFL allows you to leave 3 years post high school. That's the NFL's rule. Must be removed from college for 3 seasons in order to be eligible for their draft. It's 1 year for the NBA. So these kids leave, they get put in the G League, and now they're allowed to come back. This is the second time it's happened. The kid at Baylor's 1. Now this kid at Alabama's 2. Yeah, good for Alabama. He started with Alabama. He's coming back to Alabama. Oh, by the way, they're a top 20 team. He's a really good defensive player. They're better with him. I don't know if what Pope says ultimately is the way to fix it. But if Baker came out and told the NCAA committee that they may win the order, but in our NCAA tournament, they can't play, he'd get sued, but would he win? So the college basketball world is on 2 different sides of this. The old school guys don't like any of it. They want it to, it doesn't mean they don't take transfers. Izzo takes transfers. Calipari takes transfers. But they just want some clarity as to guys that are professionals being able to come back and play college ball. What are your thoughts? 21,000s. The Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, 21000. If you've never texted the show before, the keyword is Miller. Tomorrow on the show, we'll obviously get it into championship week. Pat Kerwin will join us, and our first chat with David Sampson in a long time. Can't wait for that. He'll join us tomorrow on the program. 2 poll questions today. One about the Bills. I've spent a lot of time talking about the Pagula press conference and what a mess that was. By the way, yesterday, and might lead with this with David Sampson. Our poll question yesterday was, are the Dodgers good for baseball? And 59% of you said they are not good for baseball. For the record, Miller and Moulton both thought that they were good for baseball. Me, simply, I think it's great when we have a villain. It's a lot easier when you're rooting against somebody. Like right now in college football, with the SEC not winning a title in a while and Alabama not being Alabama anymore because Nick left, who is it you hate in college football? I mean, really and truly, can't hate Indiana. I mean, I guess there are a bunch out there that don't like the Buckeyes. I get it, but they're not on top. So who's the evil empire in college football? I mean, Ohio State's the closest thing, but they got to win in order to be the evil empire. The Dodgers are clearly the evil empire in baseball. I think that's a good thing for the sport. I really do. The NFL, with the teams that we have left, Patriots, the Broncos, the Seahawks, the Rams, not really. I mean, trust me, I know there were people that had Patriot fatigue. Was that because of Belichick and Brady? And will it continue with Vrabel and May? Because it looks like they might be back, and they're the biggest road favorite in the history of championship weekend. It opened at 5.5. It's been bet down to 4.5. That equals the same number that the 49ers were favored over the Atlanta Falcons in 2012. For the record, the Niners won, but they won by 4. That is not a cover. Miller and Moulton. Diamond District bonus hour ahead. Trent Balley, our old producer, he's up in Michigan. I called him up to relief pitch a little bit in the final hour, as you're probably getting bored of hearing one voice today, so we'll get Trent's thoughts on this college basketball thing. We'll get his thoughts on championship weekend. We'll let him cry in his milk about the Lions a little bit and their disappointing season. He lives and breathes with them, by the way. Bucks have a new OC, getting the former offensive coordinator of Atlanta. He was the passing game coordinator with the Rams, so he has some history with Baker Mayfield. We'll see how that works out. And the Dolphins introducing their new brain trust and head coach later this morning in South Florida. All that still to talk about. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. A reminder, 2 poll questions today. One on the Bills. How quickly do they need to make the Super Bowl to justify the firing of McDermott? Most of you saying 2 years. And it's National Hot Sauce Day. Cholula getting the majority of your vote. Lee Sterling joined us earlier in the show, gave you one prop bet. I'll let you know what it was. Kenneth Walker, an under in the game against the Rams. The number, I think, is 91. He was at 100 yards in one of the games against the Rams, 57 in the other. But both games, he broke off big runs. This game, he doesn't have his other running back. Charbonnet's out of the game with the ACL tear last week, so more pressure put on Walker. And Darnold, well, he's played the Rams 2 times this year. First game, 4 picks. They lost. Second game, 2 picks. They won. How many picks does Darnold throw? And how important is that to see whether the Rams or the Seahawks make it to the Super Bowl? Miller and Moulton, thanks for joining me on a Thursday. Trent Balley will join us in the Diamond District bonus hour. That's next.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
Our wedding band event is back at the Diamond District, January 24th and 25th.
Standout designers from Crown, A-Jaffe, and Viraggio.
2 days only, 20% off designer pricing.
Diamonds, gold, or platinum. One of a kind or perfectly simple. We make it personal and easy.
20% off, January 24th and 25th. Only at the Diamond District. Se habla español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreimparadise.com. Must be 21. Play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, I was just about to text you to tell you to get your butt on stage.
It's Miller time.
What's happening, my man?
I'm good. How are you? I like the shirt.
Yeah, hey.
I got my hat on today.
Oh, look at you. Do you even know what a hockey puck is?
I love the Wings. I don't follow the league outside of that, though. I'm not going to lie. Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound fine. How many Griffins games have you been to this year?
This year, just 2.
Okay, because they're killing it too.
Yeah, they are. They're really fun to watch. They do a lot of cool like promotions and stuff too. So we'll go on like $2 beer nights, $2 hot dog nights, whatever. That's fun. And like my mom's school, they'll do a bunch of fundraisers through the Griffins and Van Andel and stuff. So
right.
Cool. Now we do have a volleyball team now, which I've never been to one of those.
What?
A volleyball team that plays at Van Andel Arena.
A professional volleyball team?
The Grand Rapids Rise.
There's a professional volleyball league?
Hey, I just told you I haven't been to a game. I'm just letting you know.
I didn't even know there was I didn't know there was such a thing. You know, I felt badly at the end of the starting 5 because I included the fact that the WNBA announced when their season will start.
I was listening to you guys yesterday. I listen every day, like after the fact, right? Because I just got stuff to do. I'll put you guys in. And you had me dying yesterday when David was talking about who he thinks is going to win Wimbledon on the women's side. And he goes, that's my pick. That's my money, whatever. And then like there was a 2-second pause and you go, I'll take your word for it.
Oh, yeah. He's like, I forgot who Sabalenka he likes in the Aussie Open. Okay.
Yeah, whoever the 4 seed is.
If you say, yeah, the 4 seed, exactly. If you say so.
Good morning, Twitch chat room. Always love you guys. It's my favorite part about your guys' show that we don't have over here.
You don't do it on either Twitch or YouTube?
We do it on YouTube, but we don't get like anyone that watches on YouTube. All of our stuff's through X because it's like Shep has a huge following on X, so that's where we get all of our viewers.
Gotcha.
We'll get like 4 on YouTube, which
Twitch
that's why. I mean, I've vented to you guys about this before, but that's why I get so frustrated when we're in quote unquote YouTube jail because I'm like, we got like 4 people that watch on YouTube.
Yeah, well.
And one of them is my uncle, who I think is watching right now. What's up, Uncle T?
That's why I don't. That's why we don't use licensed music, and it sucks because when I do, today was the day when there's always something musically that would be appropriate to play it, whether it's the theme song to a TV show or whatever was number 1 that day in whatever year.
Sure.
How's your brother doing? Speaking of music, how's he doing?
Really good. Actually, he just got really good news. He's going to be doing his first ticketed event in Grand Rapids. It's a venue called The Intersection.
Okay.
It's like a.
It's still all his. It's all independent music, right? He hasn't signed with anybody. Okay.
Yeah, he owns all his own stuff. He's got like 8 singles out now. I don't know. I could be lowballing him, but I think he's working on putting them all together as an album and putting them out. soon, hopefully.
I missed it. We're at 10 seconds, Tron. I missed the 20-second cue.
That's all right. Sonny, he's engaged.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
That's the plan usually, but that is not the case. This morning, it is the Diamond District bonus hour. The Diamond District, proud sponsor of Miller and Moulton. They've got their big wedding band event coming up. Check everything out at the Diamond District, and always tell them that Miller and Moulton sent you there. Trent Balley coming to join us for the final hour of the show today. He just got done working his 3-hour shift in Michigan and said, I want to talk more because I'm not even the co-host, I'm the producer, so I need a little airtime. So Trent helping out because David is off today. David will be off tomorrow. I'm expecting him back Monday, but there are no guarantees. He may just say, you know what, Miller, you're leaving for a few weeks. You're doing every damn show until you leave. So it's all up in the air on Monday, and I wouldn't blame David one bit. Good morning, Trent. How are you, my friend?
Mark, good morning to you. It's always a pleasure to work with you guys and help out however I can. And I got to tell you, before we get too far into things, I quickly just wanted to publicly say, I know it's been an emotional week for you. You got an army behind you. Any way I can help, I want to. I want to be on the front lines, my man. So,
well, you've gone through this. If anybody knows what this is about, for those that don't know, Trent had leukemia. He's beat it. So he's my inspiration, among many others, when it comes to this. So thank you, Trent. Didn't need that right there. Didn't need that.
I'm sorry. Let's talk sports. That's more fun.
All right. First off, I've got to get your take. People have asked, and the Lions hired a new offensive coordinator. The Bucs just hired one. We were talking about that earlier. There was talk that McDaniel, that the Lions might talk to him. That didn't happen. The Bucs talked to McDaniel. They didn't get him. So talk to me about the Lions' new OC. What's the word up in Motown about the new brain trust on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, so this will be kind of funny for your audience to hear because I know you got a lot of Dolph fans down there. They hate McDaniel. I'm sure a lot of them do. And Lions fans, that's who they really wanted because there were pictures that leaked out of McDaniel at the Detroit airport, and they thought that was a foregone conclusion. You got all these weapons, go get Mike McDaniel, and he'll spice things up and make it really entertaining. Well, all of a sudden, Lions going in a different direction with the Cardinals OC, and the Cardinals offense has not been great, right? Drew Petzing. So it's kind of a head scratcher. My take on it, I think Mike McDaniel flatly either wanted to keep his options open as a head coaching position, right? Or he just simply didn't want to be in Detroit as much as he wanted to be in a place like LA. And if LA wanted him, he'd rather take that. So as far as Petzing goes, I just think we got to wait and see. You would think it's hilarious, Mark. The people we get calls from up here and texts from, the sky is falling. The Lions have no idea what they're doing. And it's eerily similar to when they first hired Dan Campbell as head coach 5 years ago. Everyone thought that was a mistake as well.
Well, I will say Dan Orlovsky gave him a lot of praise on the run game, on the tight end game, said the passing game needs help. So he's very interested to see who the passing game coordinator that he brings on. But all right, championship weekend, I've thrown out a few stats today, Trent, and I'll give them to you. One, Seattle, the number one scoring defense. LA, the number one scoring offense. It's happened 34 times that the number one scoring defense has met the number one scoring offense in the playoffs. It's even 17-17 when they've played. But in conference championship games between division rivals, the home team is 15-5. Do you trust Sam Darnold in this spot? He's thrown 6 interceptions against the Rams, 2 touchdowns. He was 0 touchdowns, 4 picks in the loss, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks in the great overtime game win when Stafford threw for 457. Do you trust Darnold on Sunday?
No, I do not. And something I took a lot of heat for last season, Mark, which if you remember when the Lions finished 15-2 and the Vikings finished 14-3, and it came down to week 18, winner takes the NFC North, loser is the 5 seed, right? And my whole thing that whole season was wait for Sam Darnold to come back down to earth. And everyone kept telling me, Trent, he's an MVP candidate. He's playing out of his mind. He's finally found his footing in this league. He's going to be a Viking. He's going to get generational wealth. And then he had the 2 worst games of his life, potentially, in Week 18 and then the playoff game, which ironically was against the Rams. So
Right.
I do not trust Sam Darnold because even last week you can look at it, and although it was a blowout, it was Kenneth Walker, it was that scoring defense that you mentioned, it was punt return or kick returns. Sam Darnold in this spot, give me Matthew Stafford if that's what we're really asking.
Well, and the other thing, Walker's interesting, and you and I both bleed green, and he was great for Sparty, and he's been a really, really good NFL running back. I like Kenneth Walker a lot. However, he has not been great lately. And against the Rams, he had one game, I think, right at 100 yards. The other one was like 57, but he had two big runs in each. That 100-yard game, he had a 55-yard run. So the rest of it, not much there. I think I think he's going to have to be good. I think Smith and Jigba's got to be big. I think the passing game has to be big for Seattle. I know the Rams probably want it to be a high-scoring game. Even though the Rams lost the high-scoring game of the two, I would think that's the style the Rams want. Do you agree?
Yes, because especially since that high-scoring game that the Rams lost was a little fluky. I know you all remember kind of how it ended because it wasn't that long ago, but you bring up an interesting point about how Seattle should focus on going through the air because Zach Charbonnet's out. So I'm not saying you can't rely on Kenneth Walker to take over that workload on, in the backfield because I know he can do it. You and I both know he's more than capable. But yes, the Seahawks should want to pass. The Rams should want to shoot out. And if that's going to be the formula we're getting, I will take the Rams. I completely agree with you.
Both of these teams do a decent job of getting to the quarterback. Seattle's ninth. I mean, I don't know how these numbers are different because they both have 47 sacks. So their sack numbers are exactly the same, and they both don't blitz a lot. The Rams blitz the second least in the league. Seattle, the seventh least in the league. To me, if that's the case, that's kind of why the picks come. If you can get to Darnold with 4, I think he makes mistakes, Trent.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's why the Rams just need to focus on keeping it close. And how about this too, Mark? Mike McDonald, or is that his name? Mark McDonald. Did I get that right? Mike McDonald. He's done a fantastic job in his first couple seasons in Seattle, right? He's really set the tone, established the culture there. I think it's awesome. I just think Sean McVay, again, it comes down to trust factor. Who do you trust? And to your point, what you just alluded to, I do not trust Sam Darnold in a tight fourth quarter. I do trust Matthew Stafford, even though we have seen Stafford make those mistakes as well.
Well, Stafford was lousy against Chicago. He got it together for the final drive, and they got the win. But that was not a good performance. I don't know if it was the cold. I don't know if it was his hand. I don't know if it was a combination of the two. But another week of getting the hand better, I think, is great news for Stafford and the Rams. I'll make my picks tomorrow. I'll let you, before we're done, make your picks on the game. The other game in the AFC, all the talk is obviously with Knicks being out.
Yeah.
But it's the defense for Denver that's brought them this far. The Denver defense leads the league in sacks. Drake May, if it weren't for the fact that C.J. Stroud was so damn bad, I mean, that Houston defense knocked the ball free. May fumbled it a few times. They got back a bunch, or the game could have been different. And if C.J. Stroud wasn't just awful, I think Houston wins that game. It's not a knock on the Patriots, and give their defense credit. C.J. Stroud was terrible against Pittsburgh. He was terrible against New England. So, they were in the game against Houston in that defense. So we've got a similar defense with Denver, unbelievably strong. They sacked the quarterback better than anybody in the league, but Stidham, I don't know what you can even expect. Sean Payton, he likes to throw it no matter who the quarterback is. How much does Sean Payton change and have to change for Denver to have a shot in this?
And that's why the Broncos, Mark, are so scary still, even with Stidham, because you have the brainchild, the offensive mastermind that is Sean Payton, and then you have that scary defense up front that can really get to the quarterback. So I think, to answer your question, he's got to change quite a bit. I think they should get creative. Maybe you don't have to run the ball as much, but get creative. Do some jet sweeps, do some little pitch plays, do some, I don't know. Just, you can't run the same offense you ran with Knicks. Ideally, you can run 70% of it, but we don't really know what that's going to look like. But I think he's got to change quite a bit to have a chance. Because everyone's picking New England in this one.
10 runs, 10 running plays for the running backs in the game against Buffalo. It's got to be twice that if they have any shot
at least
this game.
I'd say at least. I'd say triple. I'd say you want to lean closer to like 30 carries for your guys.
Right. And I don't think, both teams have really good defense. I don't think this is a game with a ton of offensive plays. But Seattle won the game right off the bat with special teams. I don't know where you would give a special teams edge in Denver and New England, but I do think special teams, the punts, things like that, I think it's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that, admittedly, we all stick our hand up as talk show hosts. We don't really follow. We're not in the weeds with special teams, so I don't know who to trust. But like we saw last week with that New England game, or the Seattle game, excuse me, you can bust one open right away, and we like Devin Hester in the Super Bowl, and it sets the tone for the whole game. And who knows? One blocked punt. Ask Miami, right? Ask the Hurricanes. One blocked punt, one big play on special teams could swing the pendulum.
Look at you. Curious, because obviously it was Michigan, and then it was Ohio State, and now Indiana. The SEC likes to make their chant. Well, obviously their playoff was awful. Their bowl season was awful. How much thumping of the chest are the Big Ten people doing? Because it's not really in the Big Ten's nature. If you're a Michigan State fan, you hate Michigan. If you're a Michigan fan, you hate Ohio State. If you're an Ohio State fan, you hate Michigan. So is there any Big Ten folk trying to stick their chest out right now because Indiana won the Natty?
There is, but Mark, the funny thing is they're doing both. They're doing exactly what you just said, and they're still, they're putting up memes of two bodybuilders next to a fat guy, and they're saying, Big Ten owns the country, and the fat guy is Ohio State, or the fat guy is Michigan. It's like whoever you hate, you're still picking on them, but you're giving credit to the conference. So there is some chest thumping going on up here for sure.
It is ironic because that's just not in the nature of the Big Ten. I'm from that part of the world. Trent lives up there now. It's just not.
It's never been that way.
No, because, and you have to remember, and this, an SEC fan knows this, forever, up until Florida won that Natty when they got in and played Ohio State, the SEC knew that they were the best conference, but they weren't regarded as the best conference. It was always the national media talking about the Big Ten. Well, obviously that's different. ESPN has a contract with who? The SEC. But coming off of the bowl season that they had, even Nick Saban on game day said it's NIL's an advantage for the Big Ten because you'd never go north unless you could get paid.
Yeah, no kidding. And that's like, I loved his little comment about that too, because we all know how things were back in the day, wink, wink, under the table, whatever. But Nick Saban's got a point, though. This is the Big Ten's chance to really stick their chest out. They have to, because forever it was the Big Ten, then it swung back to the SEC. And now I'm not saying it's a done deal, but if we have a 3-year sample size, it has swung back to Big Ten country.
At least at the top. I don't know about the rest of the conference, but certainly the way that the SEC performed in the bowl games and the way that they played in the playoff leads people to wonder how momentum will be heading into the 2026 season. Miller and Moulton, Trent Balley filling in for David here in the Diamond District Bonus Hour.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, Mark, to close our show out, we had Don Fisher on, the Indiana Hoosiers 50-year play-by-play guy.
Oh, good deal. That's awesome.
Great interview.
That's awesome.
Could you imagine 50 years plus all those teams sucked?
I mean, I forgot how many. There's like 2 winning seasons this century before the last 2 years.
And his whole, it was kind of funny. He went into it a little bit. His whole thing was he calls basketball too. So, I mean, he got the whole Bob Knight experience. And so it's not like he had nothing to do for 50 years, but he finally broke through in football. Because it's not like basketball's been great for a while. So
no. I mean, 87's the last title.
And I think 02 was their last final, right?
That's the year I graduated high school. I'm coming up on my, this is 39 years since then.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but yeah, it was cool to just kind of hear his perspective on the final minutes, final seconds of that game.
In fact, I've said it before, but my freshman year at Michigan State had to beat Indiana to win the Big Ten title. Ohio State had an off year. Sparty had already beaten them. Michigan had an off year. Sparty had already beat them. And Indiana was good, like 5-1, I think, at that time. And that was the game to clinch the conference against Indiana.
That's awesome. It is snowing like a mother, just so you guys know.
Yeah, I saw that 100-yard or 100-car pileup. That was
Mark, I was on that highway like an hour before.
I don't know how much time you spend on TikTok or videos like that, but are you at all aware of the 2 Brits that have been in Michigan and were in Grand Rapids, and then they got sick? The one was in the hospital in Boyne. It was they cracked me up because their videos, I thought they were funny before they went to Michigan, and then they're doing this whole thing, and I laughed. They went to Yesterdog on the day it was closed.
It's closed, yeah. I was going to ask you.
Are they closed on like Mondays or something?
No, they just took like 4 days off, like to get after the holidays, So they just took.
I've been to Yesterdog once when a buddy of mine got married in Grand Rapids. We went there.
Did you like it?
I was drunk. Of course I did.
Probably tasted great.
Oh, it was delicious. I couldn't even tell you what a Yesterdog tastes like. I don't think I liked it as much as a Detroit dog or an A&W or Old Town Coney on Gratiot and Saginaw there.
But yeah, those dudes are pretty funny.
They are.
They went out to Grand Haven, Sea Lake, Michigan.
Yep.
They couldn't believe it.
I think most people in this country who have never, I think Floridians who have spent their whole time either going to the Gulf of Mexico, particularly the Gulf of Mexico, because the Atlantic has real waves. The Gulf of Mexico, in the Panhandle they do. But if you spent your life in Naples, Fort Myers, and gone to the beach, and I took you to Lake Michigan, you'd be like, huh?
Yeah. Aurora, I do somewhat, but I don't know about West Catholic. I apologize.
It's all East GR to me. That's where all my buddies went to school. They were all East GR guys.
Rich kids?
Oh, yeah. every single damn one of them. They actually knew because I graduated 87, I'm pretty sure the kids that wrote, or the people that wrote American Pie, were all graduates 88. They're all EGR.
Okay.
Because that's Yesterdog. I mean, make no mistake, if you watch that, that's Yesterdog and that's East Grand Rapids High School. They changed names because they had to, but that's
cool.
That's the basis of that.
That's the history. So, how much Pistons have you watched? Be honest.
Probably 3 games because I don't have the package, so they've got to be on nationally for me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we were talking about the Peacock game.
Yeah, but I've watched them when they've been on, and I've not listened. So I've usually have something else on, but I've watched them. Watched the Boston game the other night. I've watched a couple others when they've been on TV.
Cool.
Cade's good, man. Cade's fun to watch.
He's awesome. He is awesome.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. Trent Balley helping us out this morning. David is going to be off for the next couple of days. He will be back hopefully Monday, but I all bets are off. I've said it before. I'm going to be gone for a couple of weeks at least. If I were David, I might take every day off until next Friday when I'm not going to be here and he has to be here. He doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, David, you just get better. Mark's got it down right now, and then you'll have it down when Mark's out. You guys just pass the baton.
Exactly. All right. I spent a little time last hour, and I pretty much know your take because anything Tom Izzo says is gospel to you. But the kid for Alabama that just signed or won a temporary restraining order yesterday and was allowed to play, is allowed immediately to play with Alabama. Charles Bedico is the kid's name. He's played 3 years in the G League. He's played 46 games. Nothing impressive. Obviously, if it was impressive, he declared for the draft. The Spurs drafted him. It's not worked out. He won a temporary restraining order and is allowed to play for Alabama immediately. Mark Pope made some comments, played those earlier on the show, about what he thinks the NCAA could do. And I thought he kind of walked the fence for another SEC school when he said, well, they determine who gets in the tournament. Well, Bama's a tournament team with this kid or without this kid. But I know you probably don't like it. What would you do, if anything, do you think? First, do you think it can be stopped? Because the NCAA hasn't won a court case on any of these things, and I don't know, forever.
Yeah, so go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so what do you do?
The funny thing is my dad, my brother, and I sat in the living room last night for probably an hour talking about this. We were taking more of a football angle, but this whole Alabama thing did come up. And honestly, college basketball, I love it more than anything. No, there's no solution here. There's none. Not until the NCAA grows a spine or the SEC or the Big Ten break away and form their own conference and have their own thing going on. Because Mark, it's just, if I don't know who is defending this, and I'd love to talk to who is, because if you say it out loud, like you just said, you've got a kid who goes to college, decides he wants to put his name in the draft, gets drafted, plays in the G League a little bit, which is professional. I know it's just the G League, but it's still considered professional hoops. Not working out. Nope, I still got eligibility left. Legal loophole, come right on back. And I don't know, have you seen Coach Cal's thoughts on this? His whole
yeah,
time?
And I mentioned, Izzo's not the only one. Coach Cal's against it. And basically they're all, and Charlie Baker said you can't play if you sign an NBA contract. Well, they're playing with an NBA contract. So to me, it's Baker that's got to stand up and know that he's going to get sued and he might lose. But until the NCAA actually stands up and does something about this, they're going to continue to lose in court.
Yeah, they need to grow a spine. But my fear is, Mark, they're not going to. And that's why I hate to be pessimistic, because, I'm optimistic all the time, but I don't see a way out of the woods here. And unfortunately for, again, talking about strictly college basketball, I want Tom Izzo to coach forever. I like Coach Cal, contrary to popular belief. I like Coach Cal. I like Bill Self. I like the older guard, Rick Pitino. I hope they coach forever. They're not going to, because they're going to get so fed up with this. And the Nate Oateses and maybe even Mark Popes at some point, the younger guys, they're going to take this thing over, and it's just going to be the wild, wild west until the NCAA does something about it. The problem is, like you said, there's no reason to believe we think that's getting done anytime soon at all.
Well, the football side of it is a little different, because a third of the players that made themselves early eligible for the draft just from 2 years ago, this year there was only 46 kids that declared early. So less football players are entering the draft. But I did see a post on X that said, all right, someone that's got eligibility that tries out for an NFL team and gets cut, aren't you offering that kid a chance to come play at your university?
No.
You're not, but somebody else is.
Oh, hell yes, someone else is, of course. Yeah, if it's allowed, if it is allowed and it gets my team 1% better, of course I'm doing that if I'm a coach. But it's just a shame because it shouldn't be that way. Mark, I remember when I was in high school and Bleacher Report had just kind of become a big thing, okay? So all of us had Bleacher Report on our cell phones, and this was actually back when teachers like regulated whether or not you can be on your phone in school. So we all had our phones in our lockers. And I remember in between classes, we'd always run to our lockers to check Bleacher Report. And what you would see oftentimes is these notifications that say, so-and-so is declared for the draft, but will not sign with an agent. It's that simple. You can declare for the draft, go to the combine, go do all that stuff. You can also, if you don't feel like you're up to snuff and you don't like the way it's going, pull out. But if you stay in and you go undrafted, you are now a pro. You have gone through the process. That's how that works. It's not that hard, as Cal would say.
All right, NFC, AFC championship. Do you think, first off, I'm going to make you do it with the number because we know you like a boost and a sprinkle.
I love it. Love it.
Patriots are the largest championship game road favorite in the history of the sport. It opened at 5.5. It's now tied with the 2012 Niners, who were a 4.5-point favorite over the Falcons. They won by 4 for the record. So Patriots minus 4.5. Who do you like?
I love the Patriots. I'm going to be rooting for the Broncos because I think it's so unfair that the Patriots just get to rebuild for 2 years and be right back on top. But, I mean, come on.
You don't have a time in your life when other than like for 2 years, there's never been a time in your life when the Patriots haven't been great, right?
Correct, because I think Tom Brady was drafted in what, 99, 2000?
Yeah.
I was 1. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, it's been my entire life. So, yeah, I had the little Mac Jones years. I had the Jacoby Brissett year. But if you believe that Denver can cover the 4.5, even if they lose by a field goal, your angle is that defense, and you believe in Sean Payton because it sure as hell is not the quarterback play.
And I've got a funny feeling that you're taking the underdog in the NFC Championship.
The Rams, yeah. What is the number, though?
2.5.
Yeah, see, I love that. I like the Rams outright, so I got to go with the 2.5.
So there's Trent Balley's picks on the AFC and NFC championship games. I'll make my picks tomorrow. I hopefully will get word from David at some point to get his picks on the air, on the record, because on the season, I have made it back with my national championship win.
500?
I got it back to 500.
Let's go, Mark.
David, on the other hand, is nowhere near that. I am 62-62. David is 67-92. I let him off easy on Monday because I went 2-3. I had Denver. I had Seattle. I lost the other 2 games and like a moron took the under in the Pats-Texans game. David went 0 for 5. He had the Bills. He had Seattle. He had Texans. He had over in Rams-Bears, and he had the Rams -4.
0-5 is like as impressive as 5-0. I mean, it's hard to go 0-5, man.
It is, and yet he's done it twice this year. It's a personal charm. So we've only got 3 games left with the number. That's it. We're down to the nitty-gritty. Our poll questions today, and I talked about it with Trent. The Bills, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. How long do they need to make a Super Bowl to justify the McDermott firing? And Trent, I know you because you were at my house for March Madness, and I had to give you plain chicken wings because you're a big sissy. It's National Hot Sauce Day. I don't even think you have a favorite.
I love hot sauce. I don't really have like a favorite, but I
Tabasco, Frank's Red Hot, Sriracha, or Cholula if you had to choose.
Tabasco, no doubt.
So there you have it. Those are our 2 poll questions. Miller_Moulton or that Mark Miller on X to vote on the Bills making the Super Bowl to justify the firing or your hot sauce of choice. Miller and Moulton, we finish the show off the way we do every day with Today Was a Day Win, the good, the bad, and the ugly. What's on tap? And since Trent's here, we may get a boost or a sprinkle for tonight's action. Tomorrow on the show, Pat Kerwin to talk about the NFC and AFC championship game. And we finally get to chat again with David Sampson. That's tomorrow on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You excited to talk to Samson tomorrow?
I am. I've chatted with him a little bit because he's aware of what's going on with me, and he's dealing with the same kind of crap with his daughter, who's
Is he?
yeah, and he posted about it, so I'm not telling you at school, but I believe it's brain cancer, and
My God.
yeah, I mean, she's in much dire straits than I am, so he's been dealing with that for months, and that's why he quit coming on the show.
Yeah.
So so it'll be good. I'm going to text him today and tell him it's just me, but still, and that'll be nice to chat with him. Nine. 9.
Is he just on for one segment?
Just one segment.
You want someone to bring it home with you?
Nah, I mean, one middle segment's easy, and then the last one's kind of in the can. So
last one writes itself.
Yep. I will say, while I love doing Today Was the Day When with David, because he usually can add something about the game somehow, some way.
Yeah.
It's as much fun with Trent when we get to the birthdays, when I get to ask him if he knows who any of these people are.
Oh, wow. It is nasty outside. Nasty. My mom and my brother, they're both teachers. You know, they had their 4th or 3rd snow day of 4 days this week. Today.
Ah, the good old days. Nothing like watching. You know, it's not the same, though. It's nothing like watching the TV, staying up till 11 o'clock to see the crawl to see if you were canceled.
And if you were,
nothing better.
And if you were, stayed up all night. It was great.
And I went to a Catholic school, so we were always closed. Like, we just needed the outlying area. We needed the Hemlocks and the Swan Valleys and Freelands to be closed.
That's the first domino to fall, and then everyone else.
Yeah, because if it was the township, usually, you know, that was the township and the city schools were the last ones.
That's great. Deadstruck, love to hear it. Motley Crue, still love them.
You're something. Love that you bought old vinyl when you were out in LA, though.
I had to, man. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of hard to travel back with because when I travel, when I fly, I jam everything into one backpack.
I don't blame you.
So I had those vinyls. I'm like, I'm not gonna just shove these in here because going through baggage, whatever, they're gonna get broken. So I just carried them on with me on the plane.
Yeah,
and just held them the whole time, just hugging them.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Trent Balley helping out today. David off today and tomorrow. He'll be back on Monday. So I get to fly solo for a couple of days. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, Pat Kerwin, David Sampson on the show. That's for now. I'm sure we'll add to that between now and tomorrow morning. If you miss any of the show, like Lee Sterling, who joined us for a couple of segments this morning, millerandmoulton.com or anywhere that you download your podcast.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We'll see if Trent Balley's even heard of any of these things. The stage drama of Small Life in Grover's Corner, Our Town, premiered today in 1938. The first commercial TV station west of the Mississippi, KTLA, began broadcasting in Los Angeles today in 1947. Buddy Holly made his last recordings today in 1959. He taped 5 songs, including Peggy Sue and Crying, Waiting, Hoping, which were embellished, overdubbed, and released posthumously. 1964. David's not here, but this is for him. The world's largest cheese, 15,723 kilograms, is produced in Wisconsin for the New York World's Fair. Couple of things today in 68. First, Aretha Franklin's Lady Soul is released. It was the album of the year. Second, the NBA announced an expansion franchises awarded to the Milwaukee Bucks and Phoenix Suns. And finally, the satirical sketch comedy show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In debuted today on NBC, launching the careers of Lily Tomlin and Goldie Hawn. 73, Foreman TKO's Frazier in 2 rounds in Kingston, Jamaica. Frazier knocked down 3 times in both the first and second rounds. Also today in 73, Roe v. Wade. Supreme Court legalizes most abortions.
It's kind of a big deal.
Kind of a biggie. In Tampa today in 84, the Raiders, then in L.A., beat the Washington Redskins, a whooping, in Super Bowl 18, 38-9. Marcus Allen, your MVP. And during that game, those of you old enough to remember, Apple had their new ad for the Macintosh computer based on George Orwell's 1984. I didn't think that much of it then. Maybe I was too young. This one's for Seth, even though I know he's not listening. It was today in 87, the blizzard in Jersey, but the Devils and Flyers still played. The attendance, 334.
I was going to guess 1,000. I would have been way off.
The Devils won 7-5. Today in 88, Tyson beat former title holder Larry Holmes by TKO in 4 in Atlantic City. 89, when it had the right name, Joe Robbie Stadium. Why? Because Joe Robbie built the damn thing. Super Bowl 23, San Francisco 20, Cincinnati 16. After winning his third Super Bowl as head coach, Bill Walsh retired. Also today in 89, you'll like this one, Trent, Metallica's first music video for the song.
One?
Yes. 7 minutes and 44 seconds. It incorporated footage from the 1971 war movie, Johnny Got His Gun. The Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, pleads guilty to all federal charges against him today in 98. Kobe scored 81 today in 2006.
Hello, Jalen Rose. How you doing?
The second highest total game in NBA history behind Wilt's 100-point game. Conan's last Tonight Show episode was today in 2010. If you remember, he got the show, and then Leno wanted it back. Today in 2012, the Patriots beat the Ravens. What a great, man, if we could get this kind of championship weekend. Patriots beat the Ravens 23-20, and the Giants beat the Niners 20-17 in OT.
And we got our rematch. We got the rematch. Tom Brady got a shot at revenge against Eli and the Giants. Couldn't come up on top.
And in 2024, Joel Embiid set a Sixers franchise record, scoring 70 in a single game when the Sixers beat San Antonio. Wilt had the record before that with 68. Lord Byron, the poet. Ever heard of him?
No.
Sam Cooke, the singer. Ever heard of him?
Of course,
Okay.
yeah.
Bill Bixby was on The Incredible Hulk. Hockey player Mike Bossy?
No.
Okay. Running back Charles White?
No.
Michael Hutchins from the band In Excess?
Is he the front man?
Yes.
Then yes, I know who that is, but not by name.
He hung himself while pulling the goalie.
That's
They
too
all
bad.
would have celebrated birthdays today. Serge Savard, the great defenseman from the La Habitants, is 80 years old. Anything? Okay. Stephen Perry, you know Journey? Ever heard of
Journey,
him?
yeah. Yeah, of course,
He's
yeah.
77.
Great voice.
Actress Linda Blair from The Exorcist is 67. Diane Lane, the actress, is 61. Stephen Adler is 61. That
I
one
know,
ring a bell with you?
I know that name, but I don't know where from.
Drummer from Guns N' Roses.
GNR.
Guy Fieri is 58. Ray Rice, 39. Greg Oden, 38. And happy birthday to Caitlin Clark. She's 24 years old today.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Well, we go to the dogs for the good, where a Florida animal shelter in Miami-Dade was able to reunite a missing dog with her family 10 years after the dog vanished from the home. How no one scanned the microchip before that is beyond me, but the 15-year-old pet had been missing for over 10 years. Buttercup is back with its home.
Welcome home, Buttercup. Glad you're safe.
For the bad, we go to Matt Lachey. where Florida Fish and Wildlife are investigating the death of 3 pelicans found at a popular fishing spot. There is talk of foul play. We all know there's a few fishermen out there that don't like those pelicans getting in the bait piles, and FWC worried that this may not have happened accidentally. Finally, the ugly, we go to Aventura, Florida, where surveillance video caught a man stuffing steak and brisket down his pants at a South Florida supermarket. The Kosher Kingdom wants to find the suspect. Fortunately, the man who entered the store in big pants, according to the owner, was ripping off steak, nearly a $100 cowboy steak in his pants. He also stole wine. He apparently put one of the steaks back. The owner thought, all right, we're going to get everything back, but then he left with all of the other items. He went to Publix apparently to get chicken. I don't know. At that point, one of the employees was on break and saw all the stuff he had in his pants, chased after him. The guy unloaded the goods but got away. Surveillance video will hopefully help police track down the burglar. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 22nd, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, other jobs available, great pay, great benefits. Well, where do you go? Where else? CapeCops.com, CapeCops.com. Tonight, hockey. Let's see here. The Panthers on the road. They are taking on Winnipeg. Bobrovsky expected to start. Red Wings on the road. They're in Minnesota after beating Toronto on the road last night. I love the Wild at home. No offense to my Wings. Back-to-back against 2 pretty good teams. Pens are in Edmonton, so you get a little Crosby, McDavid. Ottawa, Nashville play. Buffalo and Montreal. It's not as good as Boston and Montreal, but a decent little rivalry. The Bruins, who have been red hot, they're home against Vegas. They're the underdog in that game. Dallas is at Columbus, and Chicago is at Carolina. NBA tonight, the Magic. They're home against Charlotte. They're a 6.5-point favorite. The Heat are on the road in Portland, taking on the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are a slight favorite.
Take the Heat. Just do it. Take the Heat. Trust me.
There it is. There's his first one. Nuggets at the Wizards. Rockets and Sixers tonight. Golden State at Dallas. Golden State, a 5.5-point favorite at Dallas. That's an interesting number to me.
Yeah, I don't get that one. I you know what, Mark? Yeah, I'm laying. No, I'm taking the 5.5 with Dallas. You're exactly right. No Jimmy Butler. The Warriors a little deflated.
And they're not. I mean, they played what's his name, the guy who wants to get traded there.
Kuminga, Jonathan Kuminga.
I don't know if you caught Dunleavy's comments, and I probably should have played those today, but you guys don't like the NBA on this show. But when asked about trading him in a press conference, he says, I'm aware of his demands, but there has to be demand for him. Throwing him right under the bus. He did play well the other night. I think scored 18 off the bench.
And that's why I think it was Danny Green on ESPN. I'll make this quick because I know no one cares. But he said, Steve Kerr's got to get him back out there to drive up his value. Like, Absolutely. If nothing else, even if he doesn't want to stay, you got to show him off so that you can drive that up.
Bulls and T-Wolves, Spurs and Jazz, and the 2 LA teams play. The Lakers at the Clippers. That's the late game tonight. College hoop. We're going to have a system play. Oh, no. There's no college hoop games today?
Oh, there is.
No top 25 games today. I apologize.
Correct.
No system plays tonight. FGCU, they're on the road against Austin Peay. I don't know what to make of FGCU. They've very much underachieved. They're supposed to be far better than that. North Florida, they're at home against Eastern Kentucky. Let's see. Penn State at home against Wisconsin. South Florida, they're on the road at UAB. They are a slight favorite in that game.
Jacksonville's at home, 2.5-point favorite.
All right. So JU a favorite at home. So small against Bellarmine. In fact, I got that at 3.5 right now. So there's a little bit of ASUN action, a little bit of South Florida action. No ranked teams in action tonight in college hoop. So there you have it. All right, you gave us one. You said take the Heat. on the road. Any other boosts or sprinkles for tonight?
Yes, the Bulls are 9.5-point dogs on the road against the Timberwolves. The Bulls stink. They are completely lost. They're going to sell at the trade deadline. They need to completely reset and rebuild everything. I love the T-Wolves to win by double digits. That's my 2 NBA picks for you.
All right. I'll put you on the spot right now because I don't know when the next time we'll have you. Obviously, the Pistons, Lions and then Pistons for you, or Lions, then State Hoop, and then Pistons?
State Hoop, then Pistons.
All right. But the Pistons are in your top 3. They're in your big 3 of Michigan teams.
Yes.
They are way over their skis, in my opinion, this year. They are playing unbelievable basketball. When the playoffs come, they should have taken down the Knicks last year. They blew it. Did they learn enough from that? And right now, would you bet on them? And look, they're going to play. Whoever plays OKC is going to lose. So would you bet on them, however, to get to the NBA final?
This might surprise you. I wouldn't bet on it. I do think they're one shooter away and 1 year early. I think next year that you could roll into next year with some real optimism that they could win the whole thing, if they retool correctly. But I'm with you. I think it's OKC's to win this year. And then in the East, I'm just afraid that New York's going to try to add Giannis or something, or the Bucks might go out, or not the Bucks, the Celtics might go out and try to make a move. And then, we'll see what happens. But I think they're a little over their skis as well. But I love watching them play.
The Knicks, I'm with you on the Knicks, but I don't know if they can get Giannis with what they have to give up to get him. I mean, if I'm the Bucks, I'm not just doing this to make the Knicks better. And I'm not doing it for just draft picks. I need pieces, and I don't know if the Knicks give up what they need to give up, how good they'll be. So I'm fascinated by that. I still like the Celtics. I am so disappointed in the Orlando Magic. I had much higher expectations out of the Magic. Now, they've been banged up. Wagner's back. That makes a difference. Hopefully they can figure it out. But Banchero, look at it. Bust is the wrong word, but his shooting hasn't gotten any better. And I expected him, with the moves they made, to be a better shooter this year. And thus far, I'm disappointed in what the Magic have done so far.
Yeah, that was a team that, not just to go back to my team, but the Pistons and the Magic were kind of looked at in the same trajectory, right? And the Magic have gone the wrong way. The Pistons are a little bit, exceeding expectations. The whole thing with the Magic is they do have a really solid young core, but the problem is they're flirting with that 7, 8, 9, 10, where you got to do the whole play-in thing to even give yourself a chance to win a playoff series, which is a key stepping stone for a young team.
All right, the Thunder, obviously the favorite to win the whole thing. The Nuggets, I would say, are probably next. But out of the Nuggets and Spurs, and my flyer for you are the Clippers. Do you think anybody else in the West can really challenge OKC?
The Spurs, because the Spurs have beaten OKC, I think, twice, or maybe it's even 3 times now. But the Spurs are a great matchup for them.
Miller and Moulton. Trent, thanks for helping out this morning. I appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Football Friday edition tomorrow. Miller and Moulton. Until then.
Night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7, this is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Our wedding band event is back at the Diamond District, January 24th and 25th.
Standout designers from Crown, A-Jaffe, and Veragio.
2 days only, 20% off designer pricing.
Diamonds, gold, or platinum. One of a kind or perfectly simple. We make it personal and easy.
20% off, January 24th and 25th. Only at the Diamond District. Se habla español.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton